Chapter 988. Such a scene startled Ouyang Long, who was underground. As he looked at the white-clad Shao Chun under the moonlight, he exuded the air of a grandmaster. The air of a grandmaster. Since when did he advance to grandmaster-level martial sage? That's not right. His cultivation is still far from that. He is not a grandmaster-level martial sage yet. Ouyang Long did not dare to think further. Ignoring the other Purple Knight's sword sect disciples, he turned around and fled. With a thought, the bright moon in the sky slowly disappeared. As Shao Chun watched Ouyang Long flee, a murderous intent flashed on his face. He stood on two lightning dragons and moved as fast as lightning, appearing like a flickering light. The purple lightning talisman in Shao Chun's sea of consciousness spun continuously. The might of his will supported the lightning dragons under him. This made Shao Chun look like he was standing on a bolt of lightning, becoming one with it. He was astonishingly fast. With a few accelerations, he caught up to the injured Ouyang Long. Bang, bang, bang. Ouyang Long no longer had a sword in his hand. Furthermore, he was injured. How could he block Shao Chun? In less than 10 moves, Shao Chun knocked him to the ground, weakening him. Cough, cough. Shao Chun, don't be happy too early. This time, not only will you not be able to go to the king conferral ceremony, but you can also forget about surviving. Ouyang Long knew that he would die for sure. He roared in despair, "You will definitely die on the way." Before Ouyang Long could finish speaking, Shao Chun stretched out his hand and pointed. A saber light flashed, and a bloody hole appeared on Ouyang Long's forehead. Shao Chun removed Ouyang Long's spatial ring and weighed it before placing it in his universe ring. Ouyang Long's dying words echoed in Shao Chun's mind. "You are walking a dead end, a dead end." Shao Chun looked into the distance, in the direction of the central province's Bushin Palace. Shao Chun's footsteps did not hesitate at all. He did not shrink back at all as he walked forward without hesitation. He was like the heart of a blades man, not panicking, not hesitating, rather breaking than bending. In the sky, on a heavy warship, the members of the 3 sovereign clans gathered together. Inside the control room, Yin Shursi and the scions of the Jiang and Lin clans sat together. An old man stood behind each of them. They were the first elders of the 3 clans. In front of them, there was a mirror that looked like a water curtain. The scene of 2 great grandmaster-level martial sages dying at Shao Chun's hands appeared on the screen. These people all sucked in a breath of cold air. They had never thought that Shao Chun would actually grow to such an extent. The Lin clan scion had a gloomy gaze as he said, "We really can't let this fellow live. Otherwise, he will definitely become the second Qing emperor. At that time, if he were to take charge of Bushin Palace, there would definitely be no way for our family to survive." Yin Shursi smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry. He absolutely won't be able to escape this time. Perhaps we might not even need to make a move." Although this group of people had seen Shao Chun's strength, they were still very confident that they could kill Shao Chun. Clearly, they had made ample preparations and had the means to kill Shao Chun. 7 days later, Shao Chun arrived at a city. This was a large city at the borders of the Profound Domain and the Tianwu Domain. It was called Strange Fire City. Along the way, aside from practicing martial techniques, Shao Chun did not neglect the most fundamental cultivation. Shao Chun had 49 peak spirit veins and the purple thunder divine incantation, which surpassed a heaven-ranked cultivation technique. His cultivation speed increased by leaps and bounds. If not for the purple thunder divine incantation's 7th layer strengthening Shao Chun's foundation, he would have successfully advanced to grandmaster-level martial sage long ago. He would not have had to wait until now. At this moment, Shao Chun was only a hair's breadth away from grandmaster-level martial sage. With just a little effort, he could advance to grandmaster-level martial sage. However, Shao Chun had even greater ambitions. Grandmaster-level martial sage was not what he wanted. Shao Chun wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to break through to peak superior grade martial sage and directly advance to great grandmaster-level martial sage. Only then would he be able to use his absolute strength to suppress the White Emperor cities, Shao Hoju, killing all the people who were planning to cause trouble and ruin. This was not impossible. Shao Chun did not lack resources at all. Furthermore, he had 48 peak spirit veins. Even the inheritors of the Holy Lands could not compare to him. What he lacked was only inner comprehension and vision. Those older generation, great grandmaster level martial sages all had more than 100 years of comprehension and vision. What Shao Chun wanted to do was to use this test as an opportunity to walk the path that those people had taken 100 years to walk in one step. This was also why Shao Chun rejected Ing Qiong's offer to send someone to escort him. He could only walk this path himself. Otherwise, even if he went to the central province and appeared at the king conferral ceremony, he would just be embarrassing himself. Collecting his thoughts, Shao Chun started to size up the city before him. It was too quiet, very uncoordinated. Shao Chun scanned the streets with his spiritual sense. The streets were empty. He stepped into the city. There were stalls, restaurants, and shops on the wide streets. There was only some dust. This city had not been empty for long. Boom! When Shao Chun arrived at the center of the city, a sharp, cold, killing chi suddenly surged out of the silent city and soared into the clouds. Many elite soldiers wearing black armor and holding crossbows leaped out of the buildings in the city. Killing chi radiated from them, and there were at least 50,000 of them. When looking carefully, everyone's position seemed to have some tricks up their sleeves, like they formed a strange formation. The many spears of killing chi all pointed at Shao Chun. Even Shao Chun felt unnatural. His muscles tensed up, and his law energy quickly pulsed. Shao Chun frowned slightly, finding this somewhat incredulous. Earlier, when he scanned the city with his spiritual sense, he had not seen anyone. Dang! 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 The sound of horses galloping resounded. A few large black horses galloped over from the distance, kicking up a trail of dust as they galloped over. The horses whipped their whips, and in a few breaths, a small group of 100 cavalrymen arrived before Shao Chun. The black armor of the 100 cavalrymen before Shao Chun was even thicker and more solid than that of the elite soldiers. Occasionally, light flashed between the gaps of the armor. It was clearly a complete set of superior grade sage grade secret treasures. A complete set of superior grade sage grade secret treasures was much stronger than an ordinary king grade secret treasure. A complete set of 100 cavalrymen was a large sum of money. Without 20 million black astral coins, it would be difficult to obtain them. In fact, even if one had the money, it would not be easy. The black horse that Shao Chun rode was not an ordinary spirit beast. Based on its characteristics, it was clearly a peak war horse, the Qilin horse. Just the horse itself was as strong as a martial sage. When the cavalrymen were 1 kilometer away from Shao Chun, they stopped in an orderly fashion. They did not say a word, only looking coldly at Shao Chun. Shao Chun searched his mind for information on Strange Fire City. As a large city at the borders, Strange Fire City was under the jurisdiction of the Bushin Palace. It had the responsibility of protecting the Tianwu domain in the first place. These soldiers on the roofs were all elite soldiers who had experienced hundreds and thousands of battles. They were much stronger than some of the disciples of the 9 ranks of the great families. The city lord, Wang Feng, had the cultivation of the blue-robed emperor. These cavalrymen before Shao Chun might be the other party's personal guards. White-robed Shao Chun, Strange Fire City's city lord, Wang Feng. I have long heard of your great name. As Shao Chun pondered, a black-clad man stood on the tallest tower in the city and spoke to Shao Chun. That tall tower was 10 kilometers away from Shao Chun. Shao Chun could only see a black figure with his eyes. He could not make out the other party's appearance. When Shao Chun sent his spiritual sense over, an aura affected him. Similarly, he could only see a vague silhouette. Wang Feng stood on that tall tower, not doing anything. Wind and clouds churned behind him. The wind and clouds inhaled and exhaled all sorts of scenes, giving one a feeling of vast mountains and rivers, a majestic grandeur. The blue-robed emperor. This was the blue-robed emperor. No matter where he was in the Kunlun realm, he would be known as the blue-robed emperor. With one more step, he would be able to ascend to the Great Tao and enter the realm of Emperor Wu. The other party set up such a large formation but did not rush to attack. Xiao Chen did not know what they were planning. Xiao Chen did not make any changes. He said sullenly, "The Haoqian sect's Xiao Chen greets city Lord Wang." 10 kilometers away, on the tall tower, Wang Feng smiled and said, "Even in such a situation, you can still remain so calm. White-robed Xiao Chen, you are rather courageous." Wang, will not speak any nonsense. On behalf of the White Emperor City's Holy Lord, I invite you to stay in this small city for 1 month. After 1 month, the sky and the sea will be vast, and you will be free to roam. Wang Feng's words were rather beautiful. After 1 month, the king conferral ceremony would have ended long ago. Xiao Chen asked calmly, "What if I say no?" Wang Feng had guessed Xiao Chen's answer long ago. He smiled faintly and said, "Then my 50,000 soldiers guarding the border will make sure you die without a corpse." Wang Feng's tone was calm and casual. However, right after Wang Feng spoke, the originally bleak killing qi in the city turned even colder. 50,000 pairs of eyes stared at Xiao Chen from the eaves. A cold killing qi seeped out of their pores. Most people would not be able to endure such a formation. Fear would spread to every part of the body. It would be bad if one could bring out half their combat prowess. Strange Fire City guarded the border. As long as Xiao Chen entered the Tianwu domain from this direction, the other party would immediately discover him. Whether he entered the city or not, the result would be the same. Sorry for the offense. At this point, there was nothing more to say. Even if there were thousands of soldiers, he had to give it a try. He had to go to the king conferral ceremony. Whoosh! The moment Xiao Chen pushed off the ground, before he left the ground, countless sonic booms rang out. Many black arrows flickered with light, giving off ear-piercing screeches as they flew toward Xiao Chen. Without needing to look, Xiao Chen could guess that these were not ordinary arrows. They could definitely injure a Grandmaster-level martial sage. The 50,000 elite soldiers guarding the border of Strange Fire City were definitely not just for show. The arrows were like rain, covering the sky and the ground, not leaving any blind spots. Piercing sonic booms filled the air. The killing qi that Xiao Chen stored up earlier exploded at this moment. Heaven and earth trembled as it erupted. Bang! 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 A boundless saber intent shot out from every part of Xiao Chen's body. The arrows shattered in the air, unable to get close to Xiao Chen. Standing on a lightning dragon, Xiao Chen moved as fast as lightning. His figure flickered endlessly in the air, sending saber winds everywhere. The black-armored soldiers on the eaves leaped around, appearing very agile. The arrows moved like beams of light, shooting out continuously. The black-armored soldiers closely followed Xiao Chen. As long as he relaxed, 10,000 arrows would pierce his heart. The 100 black-armored soldiers below stared at Xiao Chen's figure. They did not say anything, their faces expressionless. Even further away, Wang Feng, who was on the tall tower, smiled faintly as he stood upright with his hands behind his back. Chapter 989. He himself would not make a move on Xiao Chen. The people of the higher circle would not do anything to him. Although Wang Feng could not come into contact with them, he had heard of them at his cultivation realm. If these 50,000 elite soldiers and 100 personal guards could not stop Xiao Chen, the White Emperor City's Holy Lord would have nothing to say. Back then, these 50,000 elite soldiers had even wiped out a rank 9 demonic beast pack. If they still could not stop Xiao Chen, it could only be said that he had overwhelming luck and was not fated to die. Xiao Chen, who was in the air, was not in a good situation. The 50,000 elite soldiers caught hold of his every movement. This made it hard for him to move. It looked like he was flickering and moving without a trace. In reality, Xiao Chen's position was fixed in a certain space. He could not charge out at all. If this continued, Xiao Chen would exhaust himself to death here sooner or later. White-robed Xiao Chen, this is just the beginning. Without the blue-robed Emperor's cultivation, you will not be able to break free of my 50,000 elite soldiers, Wang Feng said, softly from the tall tower. Up in the tall tower, Wang Feng saw all of this. He said softly, "As long as you nod your head, I will stop immediately. I will guarantee your safety for 1 month. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. The methods of the 3 holy masters are rather gentle. After all, we were once colleagues. Walking further down this road, those people are not as easy to talk to as I am." What Wang Feng said was true. At the very least, the 3 sovereign noble clans would not show any mercy. However, no matter how one listened to it, it sounded hypocritical. They had already shed all pretense of cordiality. What was the point of putting on a false face? If not for the Hao-Ian Emperor standing behind Xiao Chun, if not for fear of the backup plans that the Qing Emperor left behind, why would the 3 holy masters be so careful? This was originally Xiao Chen's king conferral ceremony. However, they delayed it by half a year, only officially announcing it to the world when Xiao Hoju accumulated 1 million military merits. Xiao Chun had accumulated 1 million military merits for the Bushan Palace. On Dragonwood Star, he had taken down 3 resource stars without expending a single soldier. After fighting the descendants of 3 sovereign martial emperors and risking his life to destroy the corpse refining pool, this was the result. They played tricks behind his back, causing him to be hunted down in the primal chaos domain, delaying his king conferral ceremony, and supporting Xiao Hoju to suppress him. Now, they were even more outrageous. Not only did they send the 3 sovereign noble families to attack him, but they also sent 3 sovereign noble families to attack him. Not only did they get the 3 sovereign noble clans to attack him, but they also publicly sent people to block him. Even so, Xiao Chen accepted it. He would just treat this as a test on his path to being conferred king. But he couldn't stand these people. Their actions were clearly like a slap to his face. Xiao Chun still said seriously that the slap was for his own good. If I did not do it, Xiao Chun would not do it. I gave you face by slapping you. But not only did you not appreciate my kindness, you were also stubborn. You deserve to be slapped. That's treacherous. Chun continued. Xiao Chun with the Chun with the Chun with Chun, Chun Chun, Chun, Chun Chun, Chun, Chun with Chun. Chun with Chun with Chun. Don't be ungrateful when I give you face. This Wang's patience is limited. Xiao Chen's lips curled up. His figure paused in the air, and he smiled. City Lord Wang, I really do not need you to give me face. You can give it to whoever you want. If you think that you can block me, trap me, or kill me like this, then I can only tell you that you are gravely mistaken. Right after Xiao Chen spoke, he silently circulated his flawless saber Dao. A cool breeze blew, and Xiao Chen's clothes and hair fluttered. Immediately, melodious tinkling rang out, sounding like the most wondrous treasure saber in the world trembling gently. The originally formless saber chi in the air turned into saber lights. Not only did they shatter the arrows, but they also broke every bowstring. The sound of the bowstring snapping and the beautiful hum of the saber merged together, forming an exquisite melody. 50,000 elite soldiers. Only the blue-robed emperor can cross. In that case, I will show you how to cross it today. My body is like a saber. Even my clothes and hair can become sharp. On the eaves, the bowstrings of the bows in the hands of the 50,000 elite soldiers were all broken. The arrows that were entangling people finally stopped shooting. Up in the tall tower, Wang Feng's face sank. He said coldly, "Personal guards, stop him." Thump, thump, thump. 100 personal guards of the city lord's residence, wearing secret treasure battle armor, soared into the air on Qilin horses. Black flames burned under the hooves of the horses. As the horses galloped in the air, these Qilin horses all looked incredibly ferocious. The blood of the ancient divine beast, the Qilin, flowed in their veins. As they neighed, they gave off an indistinct holy might. These 100 personal guards were only peak superior grade martial sages, not grandmaster-level martial sages. However, they guarded the borders, often walking the edge of massacres, experiencing thousands of battles. Together with their full sets of secret treasure battle armor, their combat prowess surpassed that of a regular Grandmaster-level martial sage. With 100 people working together, they could even contend against great Grandmaster-level martial sages. A group of people whizzed over, like a magnificent army with thousands of men and horses. Their vigorous auras combined together, giving off a great sense of oppression. Clang! The 100 personal guards drew their weapons at the same time. Every one of them executed a different martial technique. However, they worked in tandem with each other, showing no signs of being scattered. Of all the people that Xiao Chun had seen, only the 13 keepers by Diwuk's side could surpass such tacit cooperation. When dealing with such a combination martial technique, one either had to find the other party's weakness or clash head-on. Aside from this, there were no other methods. Xiao Chun gave them a quick glance and rejected the first method. These 100 people had probably worked together for more than 100 years. The combination martial technique before Xiao Chun seemed to work as one, interlocking with each other. There were no openings to speak of. Since that was the case, Xiao Chun would use force to break through. His physical body had already reached rank 4 sage body. Furthermore, with the divine materials that he had consumed, his resilience and recovery abilities had already reached the level of the blue-robed emperor. Of course, this was just an ordinary blue-robed emperor. The Kunlun realm was vast and boundless. There was no lack of blue-robed emperors who had not reached the level of Emperor Wu, but their physical bodies had already reached the level of Emperor Wu's golden body. Emperor Wu's golden body was hard to injure by ordinary weapons, impervious to fire and water. At higher levels, he could even regrow broken limbs and regrow flesh. That was a horrifying level. Right now, Xiao Chun was still far from it. A huge shadow soared up from behind Xiao Chun. The owner of the shadow could not be seen clearly. However, the silhouette was that of a divine bird with folded wings. Even before it spread its wings, it was already so huge, like a tall mountain. Its shadow covered the 100 personal guards. Kuin Peng Fist, great rock spreading its wings, hating the sky for being too low. Bang! The instant the 100 personal guards clashed, Xiao Chun punched. The instant the Kuin Peng spread its wings and soared, Xiao Chun's aura immediately overwhelmed the 100 people in front of him. The might of this punch completely brought out the 5-dragon force in his body. Xiao Chun formed the stance of the Kuin Peng, spreading its wings. When the fist wind swept out, it knocked back the 100 personal guards. Although the other party retreated, his aura did not fall into disorder. He pulled on the reins, and the horses neighed as their auras gathered again. On the other hand, after exhausting the Kuin Peng fist, Xiao Chun's aura weakened slightly. He suppressed them. Interesting. The Qilin horse is indeed a peak warhorse. What Xiao Chun praised was the horse, and not the person. If not for the Qilin horse, even if his punch could not severely injure the 100 people, it would be enough to scatter them. However, if this was all it took to trap him and stop him, then it would be too naive of him. Today, Xiao Chun had to pass through Strange Fire City. His face did not need this group of hypocritical people to give him charity. Xiao Chun would definitely appear at the king conferral ceremony. An electric light flashed, and Xiao Chun charged over first. There were no repercussions from clashing head-on. Wang Feng, who was in the tall tower, frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Bang! 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 Before Wang Feng could detect anything, Xiao Chun threw 100 punches and 5 dragon-shaped clumps of energy. 5 dragon-shaped energies surged up and down behind Wang Feng, stirring up the wind and clouds. The dragons roared endlessly, their might lingering. Holding nothing back, Xiao Chun faced 100 punches in a row. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. On the other hand, the 100 personal guards were in an even worse state. Cracks had already appeared on the skin under their armor. Blood leaked out and dyed their armor red. Blood flowed out of their 7 orifices. The initial sharpness no longer existed. The strand of aura that connected them also became weak. Wang Feng's expression changed slightly as he shouted, "Personal guards, quickly retreat." Smiling coldly, how could Xiao Chun allow these 100 people to retreat? A divine light descended from the sky. Under Shao Chen's control, myriad heaven divine fist deities descending tripled his combat prowess. He punched with 15 dragon force. Dragon might covered Shao Chen's head, and his long hair fluttered. He wanted to finish off this group of personal guards with this punch. Blood splattered. When his punch flew out, a strong wind blew, and space trembled. There was a rustling sound, and the heavily injured personal guards in their armor turned into a mist of blood. Their bones turned to dust, not even leaving a corpse behind. The Qilin horses that Shao Chun rode howled in agony as they fell to the ground. Shao Chun stretched out his hand and waved, collecting the 100 sets of battle armor in the air into his universe ring. Good. Shao Chun, you have truly angered me. Today, this strange fire city will be your burial ground. Wang Feng's expression sank. These 100 personal guards had helped him through many calamities when he became the blue-robed emperor, so they had a deep bond with them. In the past few years, these 100 personal guards had also contributed greatly to guarding the borders. They were like Wang Feng's left and right arms. Now, Shao Chun actually killed them all. Furthermore, it was in such a miserable manner, beating them until not even their corpses remained. Wang Feng hated that he could not personally make a move and kill Shao Chun. However, he endured in the end. Form the 1,000-dragon arrow formation and trap him to death. The 50,000 elite soldiers whose bowstrings had been broken earlier had already changed their bows and nocked arrows. Beams of scarlet light soared into the sky for where the black-armored soldiers stood. As the arrows shot out, a vast formation suddenly formed in Strange Fire City. The arrows formed arrow dragons in the scarlet light that filled the sky, moving around in the air. The number of arrows increased. In the blink of an eye, the number of arrow dragons in the air reached 1,000. Scarlet clouds covered the sky, and the air froze. An arrow dragon flew at Shao Chun. The long dragon, formed by the arrows, showed a ferocious expression. It bared its fangs and claws, looking like a living creature. A scarlet light flowed on the dragon's body. Shao Chun tilted his body, and a bright saber light soared up from his body. Then, he ferociously smashed down like a saber chopping down. Bang! The arrow dragon shattered in an instant. However, the arrows did not shatter like before. With the support of the scarlet light, they became unbreakable. Chapter 990. Shao Chun vomited a mouthful of blood. He felt the blood in his body surge, and his internal organs trembled intensely. The energy contained in the arrow dragons was even greater than that of a Grandmaster-level martial sage when he burst out with his full power. The arrow dragons in the 1,000-dragon formation seemed to come in an endless stream, either crashing into Shao Chun directly, tearing with their sharp claws, or sweeping with their tails. They covered the sky, leaving no space to dodge. In a few breaths, Shao Chun scattered more than 100 arrow dragons. However, he did not have it easy either. If not for the fact that he had a Tier 4 physique, just the recoil alone would have shattered his bones. Up in the tall tower, Wang Feng showed a sullen expression. This 1,000-dragon arrow formation had not been activated for many years already, so it exhausted a lot of energy. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Wang Feng would not use it. However, he needed to use it now. Otherwise, if he really let Shao Chun escape, he would be utterly humiliated. Since ancient times, there has been no lack of demonic geniuses who fell along the way. Shao Chun, you are regretting it now, right? However, there is no medicine for regret in this world. I tried to advise you nicely, but you stubbornly refused to listen. Even if you agree now, I will not stop. However, Shao Chun remained incredibly calm in the 1,000-dragon arrow formation, not panicking at all. He materialized his flawless saber Dao and weaved through the arrow dragons, appearing perilous all around. At this moment of life and death, Shao Chun's heart remained calm. He was completely immersed in the battle, ignoring Wang Feng's words. After a long time, Shao Chun's figure paused in the air. It was like he did not see the arrow dragons flying at him at all. Shao Chun wiped off the blood from a corner of his lips and muttered to himself. Indeed, only by comprehending between life and death can one further integrate the flawless saber Tao. It is time to break the thousand dragon arrow formation. With a flip of his hand, the lunar shadow saber appeared in Xiao Chen's grasp. Then, he gently grasped the saber hilt with his right hand. Wang Feng showed a stern expression as he looked at Xiao Chen, who suddenly had a saber in his hand. He did not care. He smiled coldly and said, "You are already a spent force. Let's see how you are going to turn things around. You can forget about leaving this city in my hands." Just as Wang Feng spoke, he slowly drew that simple and unadorned saber by 2 centimeters. The half-inch saber light was as dazzling as the sun. A scarlet light spread in the air, filled with killing qi. Under the illumination of the saber light, it was like snow melting. Strange Fire City returned to normal, and the world became clear. The light was too dazzling. The 50,000 elite soldiers on the roof were caught off guard, and they all closed their eyes out of reflex. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes and raised his eyebrows. He revealed a shocked expression, even more shocked than when Xiao Chun displayed 15 Dragon Force. A top-notch sub-divine weapon. What kind of fortuitous encounter did this guy have? This is an existence that can enter the divine weapon ranking in the future. Previously, when Xiao Chun displayed 15 Dragon Force and a Rank 4 Sage body, Wang Feng had not been too surprised. As far as he was concerned, they weren't much of a threat to him. However, with a sub-divine weapon that could enter the divine weapon list, everything will be different. All the divine weapons in the world were only as strong as Emperor-grade secret treasures. In Xiao Chen's eyes, they were not startling treasures. However, the 10 divine weapons on the divine weapon ranking were very different. There were only 10 of them in the entire world, and they could rival Primordial Emperor treasures. Primordial Emperor treasures were the peak Emperor-grade secret treasures. There were only 3 of them in the entire Tianwu domain, and they were all in the hands of the 3 Holy Masters. If this saber really managed to enter the divine weapon ranking in the future, the 3 Holy Masters would not be able to do anything to this person. At that time, when Xiao Chan became a martial emperor and sought trouble for him, even the White Emperor City's Holy Lord would not be able to protect him. With this thought, Wang Feng could not help feeling regret. He should not have agreed to the White Emperor City's Holy Lord's request. However, as Xiao Chun said, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Now that he knew regret, it was too late. Bang! The lunar shadow saber was drawn, and many illusory figures shot out from Xiao Chun, materializing thousands of different saber trajectories, looking very dazzling. This was the Qing Emperor's drawing the saber, which Xiao Chun had not used for a long time. Earlier, he relied on his flawless saber Dao to contend with 1,000 dragons. Although Xiao Chun was surrounded by danger, he managed to find the weak point of this 1,000 dragon arrow formation. All he had to do was force back the scarlet light, filling the sky, and separate the arrow dragons from the formation in the city. Then, he would find the weak point of the arrow dragons and send out 1,000 saber strikes in one breath of time, destroying all these arrow dragons and breaking the formation. This sounded simple, but it was incredibly difficult to actually do it. First, he had to force back the scarlet light and separate the arrow dragons from the formation. Without a peak subdivine weapon like the lunar shadow saber, any great grandmaster level martial sage would not be able to do this easily. Even if one managed to do this, it would be pointless if they could not send out 1,000 saber strikes in one breath of time. Wang Feng was right when he said that only the blue-robed emperor could break the formation. Unfortunately, Wang Feng ran into Xiao Chun. This 1,000 dragon arrow formation could not trap him. Cracking sounds rang out at the same time. The 1,000 arrow dragon skeletons were all destroyed. By the time the scarlet light closed in again, it was already too late. The figures merged back together, and Xiao Chun sheathed his saber. Then, he took a step forward, and his white robes fluttered. He only showed his back to the 50,000 elite soldiers in the city as he broke the formation. Wang Feng watched as Xiao Chun left, slowly vanishing from his sight. Wind and clouds surged behind him. Wang Feng's forehead opened, and an indistinct spot of golden light appeared. Overwhelming energy surged in his body. Ripples appeared in the space in front of Wan Feng, somewhat uncontrollable. All he had to do was take a step forward, and he could instantly catch up to Xiao Chun. Within 10 moves, he could kill Xiao Chun. However, Wan Feng did not take this step in the end. He scattered the heavenly laws in his body and closed a vertical eye on his forehead. The surging wind and clouds slowly calmed down. Wan Feng looked like he had aged 10 years in an instant. "City Lord, should we give chase?" the commander of the 50,000 elite soldiers asked as he flew forward and performed a cupped fist salute. Wan Feng did not reply. Instead, he looked up. A black warship stuck close to the barrier of the sky, flying as fast as lightning. Its speed was close to the limit of the Kunlun realm. Never mind. He already broke the 1,000-dragon arrow formation. There is no point in giving chase. Since those people are confident of killing him, we will just ignore them. After a long time, Wan Feng withdrew his gaze and said, "I will leave the position of Strange Fire City's city lord to you. I will not be returning for the next 100 years." Wan Feng suddenly said something strange. Then his figure flashed, and he flew back to the starry heavens before that commander's confused gaze. Wan Feng suddenly said something strange. His figure flashed, and under the confused gaze of the commander, he flew back to the starry sky. Pussy Eye. After traveling 500 kilometers away from Strange Fire City, Xiao Chun vomited a mouthful of blood, still feeling some lingering fear. In the end, when Xiao Chun broke the 1,000-dragon arrow formation and left, he felt a sharp gaze on his back, extremely dangerous. This made Xiao Chun very nervous. The purple thunder, true fire, and the lunar true flame stored up power in his eyes, ready to unleash the Taiji yin-yang flame diagram at any time. The blue dragon medallion that sealed the Qing Emperor's saber light for 10,000 years already appeared between Xiao Chun's fingers. If Xiao Chun guessed right, the owner of that gaze should be Wan Feng. Fortunately, the other party did not make a move in the end. Otherwise, it would have been somewhat problematic. The blue-robed Emperor's cultivation is indeed terrifying. The purple and white lights in Xiao Chun's eyes vanished. He put away the blue dragon medallion and sighed softly. The difference between the blue-robed Emperor and great Grandmaster-level martial sage was like heaven and earth, a vast chasm in cultivation. The heavenly sage laws in the other party's body had already been refined into the higher-level heavenly laws. Heavenly laws and heavenly sage laws were only one word apart, but they were completely different. The difference between the two was like quintessence and essence. There was no comparison at all. They were just short of an opportunity to condense a heavenly world in their sea of consciousness. Then they could push open the Emperor's door and ascend to the great Tao, embark on the Emperor's road, and become the person at the top of the pyramid. Xiao Chun thought to himself, "Now that I run into the blue-robed Emperor, I have no chance of defeating him by relying on my own strength." The higher-level Taiji yin-yang flame diagram could more or less help him fight for a chance to escape. The saber light that the Qing Emperor left behind should be able to kill the blue-robed Emperor. However, that was his final trump card. Xiao Chun could protect himself even if he ran into Emperor Wu. Using it on the blue-robed Emperor would be too much of a waste. I have to advance to great Grandmaster level martial sage first. There is no point in thinking too much now. Xiao Chun thought to himself. Earlier, when he was in the 1,000-dragon arrow formation, he had been on the brink of death. This allowed him to gain several more comprehensions and improve his understanding of the flawless saber Tao. He was now 70% confident of advancing to great Grandmaster level martial sage the instant he advanced to Grandmaster level martial sage. With a flip of his hand, a sage-grade medicinal pill for treating injuries and a sage-grade essence nurturing pill appeared in his palm. Then, he swallowed them at the same time. When he killed the Medicine God Valley's Mr. Wei in the 9 layers of purgatory, he had obtained 2 bottles of sage-grade medicinal pills for treating injuries, enough for him to use for a long time. The injuries and exhaustion he suffered in the earlier battle healed quickly. In less than an hour, he would be able to return to his peak state. Just at this moment, Xiao Chun frowned. A black warship appeared, and 6 people jumped off, blocking his path. 3 of these people were not unfamiliar to him. They were the scions of the Yin clan, Jiang clan, and Lin clan. The people of the sovereign noble clans finally appeared. His first senior sister's words were unfortunately spot on. The strength of these 3 had improved significantly. However, they still could not catch Xiao Chen's attention. Xiao Chen fixed his gaze on the 3 old men with extremely high cultivations that he could not make out. However, it was unrealistic for just 3 peak great grandmaster level martial sages to block him. Based on the other party's confident expression, the situation did not seem right. Xiao Chen raised his guard. "Make your move, elders. There is no need to waste words with him. However, please leave the final chance to kill him to the 3 of us." Yin Shursi remained expressionless as he looked at Xiao Chen like a dead man. Then, he moved to the side with the scions of the Jiang clan and Lin clan. The 3 of them had suffered greatly at Xiao Chen's hands before. This left a shadow in their hearts. If they could not get rid of this shadow, it would become a mental barrier in their hearts, forever preventing them from reaching the Great Tao. Only by killing Xiao Chen personally could they get rid of this shadow. The 3 old men did not say anything. They casually waved their hands, and a secret treasure appeared in each of their hands. Boom! A boundless aura surged out and knocked Xiao Chen back. The tortoise spirit shield, the profound umbrella, and the 10,000 beast cauldron, the emperor-grade secret treasures of the 3 sovereign noble clans. Xiao Chen showed a grave expression as he infused the immortal will of thunder into his body. He stomped heavily on the ground, causing it to tremble before he managed to stabilize himself. 3 bona fide emperor-grade secret treasures were all here. No wonder these 3 were so confident. Emperor-grade secret treasures possessed horrifying might. Furthermore, 3 of them came at the same time. Chapter 991. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly to himself. The Yin clan, Jiang clan, and Lin clan really put in a lot of effort to kill him. The situation before Xiao Chen was extremely dangerous, even more horrifying than the obstruction in Thousand Dragon City. However, the only consolation was that only Emperor Wu could bring out the full might of the Emperor-grade secret treasures. As a great Grandmaster-level martial sage, one could only bring out 1/10 of the Emperor-grade secret treasure strength at best. The burden on one's body was similarly great. Every time one used it, they would have to pay a huge price. But even so, it was extremely difficult to obtain a chance of survival. Xiao Chen quickly analyzed the situation. Based on the information he obtained, he had a vague plan to deal with this situation. 1/10 of the Emperor-grade secret treasure strength was equal to a strike from the blue-robed Emperor. Using 3 Emperor-grade secret treasures in succession was equivalent to receiving 3 moves from a quasi-Emperor before he could hope for a chance of survival. Xiao Chen, back then, you snatched our secret treasures and even dared to boast shamelessly. Today, we will bury you here and make you pay the true price. The first elders of the 3 clans each stood on one side. The 3 Emperor-grade secret treasures sealed off this space, restraining Xiao Chen's freedom wings. With the Emperor-grade secret treasures locked onto him, it would be very difficult to leave. Yin Shursi smiled coldly, wanting to see the despair on Xiao Chen's face after being forced into a dead end. Unfortunately, Yin Shursi was disappointed. Aside from the initial shock of getting knocked back, Xiao Chen did not show any panic or despair on his face. Brother Yin, just ignore him. Later, he will beg for mercy. I don't believe that he can survive after spending so much effort in the 1,000 Dragon Arrow formation, the Lin clan scion said with a smile. When the Lin clan scion saw the situation, he smiled. The rightmost Jiang clan scion said coldly, as long as the 3 first elders find an opening, they will attack at lightning speed. Within 3 moves, he will become a cripple. At that time, we can torture him however we want. Inside the primal chaos domain, the 3 first elders held the Emperor-grade secret treasures in their hands. He had wanted to kill Xiao Chen, but in the end, not only had he been beaten into a sorry state, he had even lost his secret treasure. This was a great humiliation. Now that he had forced Xiao Chun into a situation of certain death, he could not help but feel proud. The purple talisman containing a great perfection saber soul hovered above Xiao Chen's head. He did his best to resist the might and pressure from the Emperor-grade secret treasure, not letting himself reveal any openings. The three old men showed astonished expressions. The profound umbrella, the tortoise spirit shield, and the 10,000 beast cauldron were three Emperor-grade secret treasures. Although the three of them could bring out only a tenth of their might, when they worked together, their might and pressure could kill some Grandmaster-level martial sages. But now, after such a long time, under the heavy pressure, Xiao Chun was actually still able to maintain his original state of mind, not revealing any flaws at all. Faintly, one could even see a sharpness and an intense competitive spirit. Don't hold back. We have to cripple this brat with a single blow. Otherwise, there will be trouble this time. The Yin clan old man snorted coldly, and the heavenly sage laws in his body poured into the profound umbrella above his head. The profound umbrella immediately unfurled, and the scarlet profound flame started burning even more intensely. Strands of cold qi flowed towards Xiao Chun from all directions. As long as a strand of it entered, it would immediately turn into a cold poison, inflicting severe damage on Xiao Chun. The first elders of the Jiang clan and Lin clan quickly follow behind. The shield formed by the simple and unadorned tortoise shell flickered with dense talisman scripts. When the might and pressure arrived, space became like water, squeezing into all sorts of shapes. The Lin clan's 10,000 beast cauldron gave off an even more oppressive might. The ferocious roars of various ancient mutated beasts came from the cauldron. The roars rose and fell like endless waves, rumbling deafeningly. With the pressure from the three, Xiao Chun clearly could not contend with them with just the immortal will of thunder and the great perfection saber soul. Xiao Chun's long hair and white robes fluttered about. Sweat dripped off his forehead. Cracks appeared on his skin, and blood flowed out. The ground under Xiao Chun's feet instantly cracked. The ground moved, and the sky spun. It was like the universe was overturning. Seeing Xiao Chun gradually unable to hold out, his aura weakening, and many small openings appearing, the three old men revealed expressions of joy on their strained faces. Soon, in just a while, Xiao Chun's aura would completely crumble. At that time, they would not need to use too much of the Emperor-grade secret treasure's energy to cripple Xiao Chun. After all, they would have to pay a significant price to bring out even a tenth of the Emperor-grade secret treasure's energy. If they could reduce the price, they would definitely do their best. The expressions on the faces of Yin Shursi and the heir of the Jiang and Lin clans slowly turned interesting. All they needed was a lightning-quick strike, and the name Xiao Chun would disappear from the world. Suddenly, Xiao Chun vomited a mouthful of blood, and his aura crumbled. The purple lightning talisman above his head turned into motes of electric light flying everywhere. Attack! The Yin clan first elder's eyes lit up. He stretched out his hand and grasped the handle of the umbrella. His figure flashed, and the profound umbrella flew toward Xiao Chun. A sinister wind blew, giving off an overwhelming chill. Before the profound umbrella arrived, a layer of frost already covered Xiao Chun's body. His black hair turned snow white, and his lips turned bloodless. When the Jiang clan and Lin clan first elders saw the situation, they hesitated and stopped attacking. Based on Xiao Chun's situation, with his aura crumbling and the cold poison invading him, he could not retaliate at all. There was no need for them to attack. In that case, there was no need to use the Emperor-grade secret treasures and damage their physical bodies for nothing. However, the two did not notice a trace of mockery flash on Xiao Chun's bloodless face. Xiao Chun smiled to himself. I made the right bet. I knew that this group of people would not be fearless. Bang! With a flip of Xiao Chun's hand, the lunar shadow saber appeared. When the profound umbrella was less than 10 meters away, he drew it at lightning speed. In that instant, a dazzling light froze Xiao Chun's figure. The frost on his body instantly melted, and the scattered electricity gathered back together. The immortal will of thunder that contained the great perfection saber soul turned into a purple lightning talisman and reappeared above Xiao Chen's head. The instant Xiao Chun drew his saber, his aura that had already crumbled gathered back together, becoming even stronger. A sharp light surged out, clashing with the Emperor-grade secret treasure. By relying on the might of lunar shadow, Xiao Chun suppressed the Emperor-grade secret treasure that the other party could only bring out a portion of its power. In the time it took for a spark to fly, the scene seemed to freeze. There was a crisp sound, and the Yin clan first elder's profound umbrella was knocked out of his hand by a Xiao Chen saber strike. Another saber light lit up. It was Xiao Chen's left foot kicking out at nearly the same time, landing heavily on the Yin clan first elder's chest. Blood spurted out as Xiao Chun kicked the Yin clan first elder back, shattering his ribs. 5 Dragon Force, 25,000 tons of force, was not easy to endure when kicked out with the flawless saber Dao. This sudden change happened in an instant. Xiao Chun, who was clearly on the verge of dying, actually exploded out and injured someone, knocking the Yin clan first elder back. We were fooled by this brat. He scattered his aura on his own. The Jiang clan and Lin clan elders were startled. They had not expected Xiao Chun to do that. By scattering his aura, it meant that he had to endure the might of 3 Emperor-grade secret treasures. The internal injuries he would suffer would be no joke. Even if he could suppress it temporarily, when it erupted, it would be a lot to bear. Furthermore, if the two of them had attacked together, his old and new injuries would erupt together. Even a deity would not be able to save him. When the two of them looked at Xiao Chun, they trembled in fear. This kind of person was too ruthless. He was ruthless to his enemies, and even more ruthless to himself. Whoosh! Now that an opening appeared, Xiao Chen's figure flashed, and he charged out. When he arrived before the 3 scions, his lips curled up in a cruel smile. These 3 showed horrified expressions. Just a moment ago, they were still thinking about how to torture Xiao Chun before killing him. In the next moment, Xiao Chun kicked the Yin clan first elder away and charged over to them. You 3 pieces of trash want to kill me? Today, I will cripple you first. A cold light flashed on Xiao Chen's saber. He executed his strongest killing move, the subduing dragon profound slash, expressionlessly. Out of sight, out of mind. Since Xiao Chun found an opportunity, he would not give the 3 a chance to flee. Stop! The Jiang clan and Lin clan's first elders shouted in fright. How could they dare to hold back? They used their 2 Emperor-grade secret treasures to charge over without holding anything back. They wanted to stop Xiao Chun from attacking with their Emperor-grade secret treasures. However, not only did they fail to kill Xiao Chun, but Xiao Chun even killed their scions. If word of this spread, the various clan heads would be enraged. Right now, Xiao Chun was as strong as a great grandmaster-level martial sage. If he used his full power, how could the 3 scions be a match for him? Furthermore, he used his strongest killing move, the subduing dragon profound slash. When Xiao Chun attacked, he did not intend to let the 3 live. 18 azure saber lights swept out and turned the 3 scions into a scarlet light. Xiao Chun personally killed the 3 scions in front of the first elders of the 3 clans. No one had expected such an ending. The 3 scions would not be able to rest in peace even in death. Before coming, they had looked at Xiao Chun like he was a dead man. They had casually treated Xiao Chun like a turtle in a jar, wanting to use him to vent their anger and get rid of the shadow in their hearts. For the sake of killing Xiao Chun, the 3 clans brought out their secret treasures. They were very bold and ruthless. However, Xiao Chun was even more ruthless than them. Relying on this ruthlessness, he broke out of this certain death situation with a flip of his hand. Bastard! After the scions died miserably, the first elders of the Jiang clan and Lin clan went berserk. The 10,000 Bees Cauldron and the Tortoise Spirit Shield charged over at the same time. Tens of thousands of ancient tortoise shells lined up to form the Tortoise Spirit Shield. The shock wave from it arrived first. Space was like water, rippling as it was compressed. These were spatial ripples. With just a gentle wave, they could shatter a mountain range for 50 kilometers around. The Jiang clan's first elder poured his heavenly sage laws into the tortoise spirit shield without caring about the expenditure. Blood leaked out of the corners of his eyes, and his face aged 10 years. The might of the tortoise spirit shield was startling. Such horrifying energy already rivaled the strike of the blue-robed emperor. However, it was only a tenth of the might of an emperor-grade secret treasure. This showed how horrifying the true explosive power of an emperor-grade secret treasure was. If it were in Emperor Wu's hands, he would probably only need one wave to crush Xiao Chun into a meat patty. Even a rank 4 sage body would not be enough. Fortunately, the tortoise spirit shield only had a tenth of its strength. It was just an attack from the blue-robed emperor. Xiao Chun still had some confidence in blocking it. Sheathing the saber, Xiao Chun stabbed the lunar shadow saber into the ground. Then he quickly formed hand seals and materialized the fifth move of the myriad heaven divine fist, eternal myth. The magic energy in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness surged, and a deity image appeared behind him, looking exactly like him. Chapter 992. Countless praises rang out. Xiao Chen's expression turned solemn and dignified as he continuously burned his magic energy, storing up divine might. When the spatial wave arrived before Xiao Chen, he finally succeeded in gathering divine might. The deity statue became 1,000 times larger, radiating a bright light and radiating divine might. Xiao Chen leaned over and smashed down with a palm strike. Bang! He blocked the layers of spatial waves. The waves stirred, and a spatial storm spread out in all directions. The deity statue behind him slowly cracked and returned to nothingness. Xiao Chen's body shook, feeling dizzy. The Jiang clan elder flew back, blood flowing out of his mouth, making him look even older. Roar! Right after the wave passed, the Lin clan first elder used the 10,000 beast cauldron. The 100 ancient mutated beast images that he summoned instantly arrived before Xiao Chun, drowning Xiao Chun within. A ruthless expression flashed on the Lin clan first elder's aged face. He raised the 10,000 beast cauldron, wanting to control the 100 ancient mutated beasts to tear Xiao Chun to pieces. These 100 ancient mutated beast phantoms weren't something that the Lin clan's scion had summoned with his replica could compare to. They already possessed simple intelligence and were even more ferocious. Their bodies were already infinitely close to the physical bodies of the ancient mutated beasts. When 100 ancient mutated beasts appeared, they could even injure the blue-robed emperor. However, Xiao Chun happened to not be afraid of this. With a flip of his hand, the holy beast medallion appeared in his palm. A strand of azure light shot out and instantly intimidated the 100 ancient mutated beast images around him. Xiao Chun continued burning his magic energy, wanting to use the holy beast medallion to suck in these 100 beasts. However, Xiao Chun's expression suddenly changed, and he quickly stopped. An even stronger aura came from the 10,000 beast cauldron. It was like formless chains firmly binding these 100 beasts. The holy beast medallion's suction could not break the chains at all. While Xiao Chun was distracted, the 100 ancient mutated beasts started to struggle. The holy beast medallion wanted to break free from the deterrent force of the holy beast medallion. Decisively withdrawing, the wind howled as Xiao Chun took the opportunity to escape the encirclement of the 100 ancient beasts. The old man from the Lin family widened his eyes in disbelief as he watched Xiao Chun intimidate the mutated beasts before calmly jumping out of their encirclement. Damn it! He wanted to continue controlling the exotic beasts to attack, but summoning these 100 exotic beasts had already cost him quite a bit. If he wanted to continue controlling it, he would have to rest for a while. Otherwise, his body wouldn't be able to take it. Xiao Chun paused in the air and glanced at the 3 who were heavily injured. This was a great opportunity. He could kill the 3 of them, and even take the opportunity to snatch the 3 Emperor-grade secret treasures. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Chun rejected this decision. His current body was also not optimistic. In the first place, he had not fully recovered from the battle at Strangefire City, so he decided to take a risk. The might of the three Emperor-grade secret treasures surged into Xiao Qin's body at the same time, but he managed to suppress the injuries he suffered. The first elders of the three clans sat cross-legged on the ground, quickly recovering from the injuries from activating the Emperor-grade secret treasures. Their expressions were extremely unsightly. This time, they had made a huge joke of themselves, bringing three Emperor-grade secret treasures to kill Xiao Qin. Not only did they fail to kill Xiao Qin, but the scions of the three clans that accompanied them all died at Xiao Qin's hands instead. The deaths of scions were not a big deal. The sovereign noble clans had many descendants and many outstanding talents. With the intense competition, there was never a lack of successors. Although it was rare for the scions of the sovereign noble clans to die at a young age when they went out on experiential training, it was not unheard of. The most important thing was the face of the sovereign noble clans. This time, the face of the entire world would be completely thrown away. In the distant horizon, Zongtian and the sword sovereign Lu Xiaoyan stood side by side. They peered through space and saw everything that happened. Lu Xiaoyan hugged a sword and smiled. This fellow is really ruthless. I wonder if those old fogies of the Yin clan, Jiang clan, and Lin clan can sit still. Zongtian smiled and said, "It looks like my sovereign's tribulation has gained a few more problems." "What's wrong? You don't look worried at all." "Those old fogies of the three clans are not weak," Lu Xiaoyun said with a smile. "With me, Wu Xiaotian, around, is there a need to be afraid?" Space tore open, and the saber sovereign, Wu Xiaotian, walked out, wearing tight robes and holding a treasure saber. Buzz! The moment Wu Xiaoyan appeared, the sword in Lu Xiaoyun's embrace trembled uncontrollably. A surging sword intent waited to be unleashed. "The Void Sword's temper is still the same as before," Wu Xiaotian said softly with a smile. The Void Sword was forged by Sita Leong. It was a divine weapon ranked 5th on the divine weapon ranking. Lu Xiaoyan suppressed the Void Sword's sword intent and smiled coldly. "Your time saber has not changed, either. It is still the same as before, like a dead ghost." The time saber was also ranked 5th on the divine weapon ranking. For the sake of his sovereign's tribulation, Zongtian actually managed to get the profound domain's saber sword 2 sovereigns to come. No wonder he was confident that he would succeed in his tribulation. "Let's go. If you want to fight, wait until I undergo my tribulation. There will be a chance for you two to make a move then." Clearly, Zongtian had already guessed this would happen. He smiled, not surprised at all. Although the two did not like each other, they knew what was more important. They both snorted coldly and ignored each other. In a desolate mountain range, Xiao Qin sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, regulating his breathing. By now, the battle with the 3 sovereign noble clans had already lasted for half a month. For the past half a month, the other party's pursuit had not stopped. Xiao Qin fought as he moved, getting closer and closer to the central province. During this time, several people from other factions joined in as well. During this life-or-death chase, and all sorts of enemies, Xiao Qin's comprehension of the martial Dao deepened. After shaking off a group of pursuers, there were less than 10 days left until the king conferral ceremony. Finally, Xiao Qin made his decision. He would break through the bottleneck of peak superior grade martial sage and advance to great grandmaster level martial sage in one step. Xiao Qin opened his eyes and stretched out his hand. 10 peak spirit veins origins appeared. He intended to use this to break through the bottleneck. Then, he would consume all 10 peak spirit veins in one go and advance to great grandmaster level martial sage in one go. What kind of concept was this? Xiao Qin cultivated for half a year before consuming 1 peak spirit vein to advance to peak superior grade martial sage. Such a horrifying speed was already shocking enough. Now, Xiao Qin wanted to consume 10 peak spirit veins in one go, all for the sake of advancing to great grandmaster level martial sage. There were 2 ways to be conferred king. One was to become a sovereign martial emperor and become a king, having their own title. If the king title that one wanted already had an owner, one would have to challenge the other party. Only by defeating them could one obtain it. For example, after the Thunder King became a sovereign martial emperor, he immediately challenged the Thunder and Lightning Palace's palace master, who held the title of Thunder King, for the sake of obtaining the title of Thunder King. However, the result was rather tragic. The Thunder King, who was of the same generation as the Qing Emperor, won in the end. As for the Thunder King, Sang Mu, he died mysteriously. The other way was the king conferral ceremony that the Bushin Palace was about to hold. The title of king was conferred by the Bushin Palace based on military merits. Below king were the marquis, nobility, and duke. Compared to the former, the latter were definitely less important. However, they were no less solemn and dignified. In fact, they might even surpass the former. Only with 1 million military merits could one be conferred king. Accumulating 1 million military merits was not an easy task. One could exchange military merits for all sorts of rare spirit pills, martial techniques, and cultivation techniques in the Bushin Palace. It would be very difficult for regular cultivators to not use them. Furthermore, it was not easy to obtain military merits. In the past 1,000 years, no more than 20 people have been conferred the title of king in the Bushin Palace. No more than 10 have been conferred the title of king before the age of 100. None have been conferred the title of king before the age of 50. Now, the White Emperor City's young city lord, Xiaoju, had already accumulated 1 million military merits at the age of 35. He inherited his ancestor's title and was conferred the title of White Tiger King. One could easily imagine what a grand event this was. The 3 vice palace masters of the Bushin Palace worked together to send out invitations to the world to hold a king conferral ceremony in the central province's Tianwu City. Who were the 3 vice palace masters? They were all sovereign martial emperors. Furthermore, they were the masters of the 3 holy masters' holy lands, the Vermilion Bird Palace, the White Emperor City, and the Divine Martial Gate. It had been many years since the 3 holy lords worked together to send out invitations. This time, the 3 holy masters sent out invitations together. This showed how important this matter was to them. Given the prestige of the 3 holy masters in the Tianwu domain, if there were no surprises, all the sect masters of the various sects or famous cultivators who received invitations would show up as promised. In fact, there would even be the phenomenon of selling invitations. Outside the Tianwu domain, the reputation of the 3 holy masters' holy lands would no longer be as useful. In the eyes of the cultivators of the other domains, the strongest of the human race would definitely be the Thunder King. The main reason why the cultivators of the other 4 domains took time out to participate in this king conferral ceremony was a very short and insignificant sentence at the bottom of the invitations. With one glance, 99% of the people would automatically ignore this sentence. Xiao Chun, 1 million military merits, conferred king on the same day. There were only 10 days left until the king conferral ceremony. No matter how close the cultivators who received the invitations were, they would have to make a move now. Tianwu domain, Haoqian sect. When Shui Lingling saw the invitation, she revealed a playful smile. The invitation introduced Xiao Hoju's background in detail, as well as the various things he had done since he made his debut. There were hundreds of words in total. Xiao Chen's name was clearly written in gold. The picture on the back of the invitation was also exquisite. Xiao Hoju rode the holy beast White Tiger, standing on a tall peak and looking into the distance. His cloak fluttered in the wind. At the bottom corner was the news of Xiao Chen's conferral of king. There were only 10 simple words, written in the same color as the invitation, written in a place that was easy to overlook. If one did not look carefully, one would not notice such a sentence. This was indeed the case. The strong publicity from Bushin Palace also made many ordinary cultivators of the Tianwu domain forget about Xiao Chen's conferral of king. They all forgot about Xiao Chen being conferred king. They only knew that Xia Hojue was conferred king. Shui Lingling closed the invitation and asked the first elder, Han Qinghe, "Uncle Han, how has junior brother Xiao Chun been?" Han Qinghe replied, There's been bad news recently. After he barged in a strange fire city, 3 sovereign noble clans using their emperor-grade secret treasures blocked him. Originally, he would have died. However, for some reason, he managed to force his way through and even killed the scions of the 3 sovereign noble clans. However, he is severely injured as well. In the past few days, he has been hiding from the pursuers, disappearing without a trace. Worry appeared on Shui Lingling's gentle face. She did not know how Xiao Chen managed to get so far. There were still 10 more days to the king conferral ceremony. If Xiao Chen died on the way, then all his efforts would have been for naught. Chapter 993. Xiao Chen only hoped that Xiao Chen could appear safely at the king conferral ceremony. At that time, even if he could not be conferred king, at least no one would dare to touch him openly. After hesitating for a while, Han Qinghe said hesitantly, "There is another piece of bad news. I'm not sure if I should say it or not." Shui Lingling's heart sank as she had a bad feeling. "Speak then." The deity race has made a move as well. 10 great Grandmaster-level martial sages with temporary deity statues have already set off. They need to block Xiao Chen at the last moment. No matter what, they cannot allow him to appear at the king conferral ceremony. Casting a deity statue meant having a statue of oneself in the deity race's sacred hall. Then, one could receive worship from the crowd and absorb the power of faith. The deity race claimed to have 3,000 deities. In reality, most of them only had the cultivation of the blue-robed emperor. However, the strength that they could erupt with far surpassed that of a regular blue-robed emperor. They relied on the power of faith. If these 10 deity race great grandmaster-level martial sages found Xiao Chen, the consequences would be dire. Shui Lingling's expression changed slightly. "No, we cannot let junior brother Xiao Chen continue on alone. We have to help him." Han Qinghe sighed softly. "The sect master already said that we are not allowed to make a move. This path can only be walked by Xiao Chen himself." Shui Lingling's expression changed as she calmed down. She understood in her heart that this path was chosen by Xiao Chen himself. Back on the Haoyan Star, Xiao Chen had withdrawn his sharpness and was not famous. However, Xiao Chen had already seen the true dragon hidden in his eyes. After the battle on the proud son of heaven ranking, everyone in the world knew about Xiao Chen's identity as a descendant of the Qing Emperor. From that moment on, Xiao Chen had already made preparations to bear everything. Xiao Chen had to walk this path of king conferral alone. Eventually, he would appear at the king conferral ceremony and inherit the Blue Dragon King title that belonged to him. Let's go and participate in junior brother Xiao Chen's king conferral ceremony. He will definitely appear in Tianwu City. The worried expression on Shui Lingling's face disappeared and was replaced by confidence and determination. At the king conferral ceremony, the white figure that had never disappointed her would definitely appear with pride. Kunlun Realm, Quafu clan's residence, young master Quafu Zhu. Ren Kongjua looked at the small words at the bottom right corner of the red invitation letter, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He smiled coldly and said, "I hope that you will show up. No one has ever dared to humiliate me like this before." In the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, Xiao Chen had gone to ask for Lord Jio's hand in marriage. In the end, Xiao Chen had used Lord Jio to make fun of him. Xiao Chen had always remembered this great humiliation. He had been waiting for this king conferral ceremony to deal a fatal blow to the other party. In the Azura clan, which was also a powerful ancient clan, Lan Xiaobai, Yu, and the others were taking turns passing around an invitation. Yu's face was filled with doubt as she said, "Xiao Chen's name, Brother Xiaobai. How come I don't see it?" Lan Xiaobai smiled helplessly and pointed to the bottom corner, where the words were the same color as the invitation letter. "It's here. Why is it so small? I can't see it clearly," Yu said gloomily as joy flashed on her face. The person beside her said to Lan Xiaobai, "Xiaobai, what are your plans?" Lan Xiaobai sighed. In the past year, he had traveled everywhere. In the end, he discovered that his reputation could not move anyone. It was practically impossible for him to organize a heroes' convention to compete with Diwuk. I will make a move against him. If he can survive and successfully conferred king, I will be willing to stand on his side. At the same time, in the Ghost Domain, the descendants of 3 sovereign martial emperors had already set off for Tianwu City in the central province under the lead of the heaven-punishing corpse god's personal disciple. In the chaotic demonic sea, the merfolk race Queen Yao Yin received the invitation letter. A bright light flickered in her eyes as she looked at the unremarkable words at the bottom right corner. It has begun. I have to send someone to deliver the congratulatory gift. After crossing the chaotic demonic sea, in the headquarters of the Heavenly Starry Ocean's Northern Sea Alliance, first young master, the king conferral ceremony that you told me to keep an eye on will be held in 10 days. Yi Chan said with some disappointment. I'm afraid there is no time to go. However, it should not be a problem to get father to prepare a congratulatory gift. In the Fiend Domain, Bai pestered the Fox King with a smile on his face, urging the 5 strongest experts of the Kunlun continent to personally go to the king conferral ceremony. Outside the Tianwu Domain, there were many other places. Many people who received invitations paid attention to the most unremarkable words on the invitation. The expressions on their faces were either anger, smiles, or so on and so forth. The 3 holy masters probably would not have expected what kind of storm this king conferral ceremony would stir up. The king conferral ceremony would be held in 10 days. In the central province's Tianwu City, some famous cultivators started to appear in the streets. The liveliness of the city increased by the day. In the tea houses and restaurants, all the topics were focused on the upcoming king conferral ceremony. However, the topic was not Xiaohoju. Instead, it was the name on the invitation that no one would notice if they did not take a second look. There were some things and some people that could not be hidden even if one wanted to. Perhaps an ordinary cultivator would not notice Xiao Chen's situation. However, a cultivator with a certain level of strength would not overlook this subtle change. The 3 holy masters intentionally suppressed Xiao Chen, not letting the world pay too much attention to him. However, the more they did this, the more curious people became. Did you hear? Xiao Chen will not be able to attend the king conferral ceremony. In a certain bustling tea house in Tianwu City, someone brought up the hottest topic of the day. Immediately, someone replied with a smile, I heard about it long ago. The rumors are everywhere. Since the moment Xiao Chen left the profound domain, he has been under constant attack. First, he destroyed the Purple Knight Sword sex attack. Then, he forcefully barged into Strange Fire City. After that, he was blocked by the 3 sovereign noble clans. Haha, the 3 sovereign noble clans really made a big joke this time. They even used their emperor-grade secret treasures. In the end, Xiao Chen killed the signs of their 3 clans and forced his way out. However, Xiao Chen's situation is not very good now either. The people of the 3 sovereign noble clans are looking for him. Some strong, loose cultivators who want to take advantage of him also ran over. It's not just not good. He is practically in danger. The latest news is that the great Grandmaster-level martial sages of the deity race have already charged over. This is forcing Xiao Chen to his death. Right now, there is no news of Xiao Chen. We do not know if he is dead or alive, or how he is doing. I think he is in danger. Even if he barely survives, he will not be able to rush to the king conferral ceremony. At the end of the discussion, everyone felt that it was a pity. The name white-robed Xiao Chen quickly spread throughout the Tianwu domain after that famous battle on the proud son of heaven ranking. After that, people started digging out information about Xiao Chen's experiences. The various things that happened after that made Xiao Chen even more famous. Everyone slowly accepted the title of the Qing Emperor's descendant. Originally, everyone thought that this king conferral ceremony would straighten out Xiao Chen's name. The title of Blue Dragon King would be rightfully given to Xiao Chen. Who could have imagined that there would be so many twists and turns? First, it was delayed by half a year. Then, the 3 holy masters played dirty tricks in secret. Now, the situation worsened, directly interfering with Xiao Chen on the surface. They were just short of shedding all pretense of cordiality and personally making a move on Xiao Chun. Anyone with a brain would be able to guess the reason behind it. 10,000 years ago, when the Dragon's Gate flourished and the Qing Emperor shone dazzlingly, the three holy masters were suppressed to the point where they could not raise their heads. The title of Holy Land existed in name only, completely ignored. Now, the three holy masters naturally did not want to experience that again. Amid such discussions, the king conferral ceremony approached day by day. However, all news about Xiao Chun stopped. It was like he had vanished completely. There was no news of the 10 great grandmaster-level martial sages of the deity race, either. Whether they found Xiao Chun or not, what was the result of the great battle was like a stone sinking into the sea, silent. He can't make it. The king conferral ceremony is starting. On the day the king conferral ceremony officially started, there was still no news of Xiao Chun. The cultivators in the city, who held expectations for Xiao Chun, all sighed. How unfortunate. If we do not confer him a king this time, he will have to become a sovereign martial emperor if he wants to obtain a king conferral in the future. It's difficult. Let's not talk about whether he's alive or dead. This setback will leave a shadow in his heart. Whether he can advance to martial emperor or not will be a problem. I wonder what the king conferral ceremony will be like. Unfortunately, there are no invitations. Some people looked in the direction of the Tianwu Plaza in the city, revealing curious expressions in their eyes. The Tianwu Plaza was where the king conferral ceremony would be held. However, one needed invitations to enter. Those who could enter to watch the king conferral ceremony were either people from the 9 ranks of the great families or famous experts. There were many people who met the requirements. Nearly all the people who were invited were present. Nearly all the outstanding talents of the younger generation of the Kunlun realm were present. Some of the factions that had a good relationship with the White Emperor City would even send the blue-robed emperor, giving the White Emperor City a lot of face. As for Emperor Wu, he was too far away. Unless there were great benefits, he would not be able to attract them. At this moment, the White Emperor City's Xiaoju stood on a tall platform in the center of the flower-filled Tianwu Plaza. He had a wide smile on his face, looking very spirited. Many golden statues stood behind the tall platform. All of them were cultivators that the Bushin Palace had conferred the title of king, representing great glory. However, behind Xiaoju's smile, he still felt somewhat nervous. When he looked around, he saw a huge crowd. The people who came were all famous major characters of the Kunlun realm. All the famous, outstanding talents of the younger generation had rushed over. Xiaoju felt somewhat fearful of a certain person suddenly appearing and completely overshadowing his brilliance on this day when he should be in the limelight. However, Xiaoju also felt some anticipation. Now that his strength had soared, he really wanted to compete with Xiao Chun in front of everyone. Xiaoju's emotions were conflicted and complicated. The black-clad old man presiding over the ceremony smiled reassuringly and said, "Young city lord, don't worry. I received news that the 10 great grandmaster-level martial sages of the deity race found Xiao Chun 5 days ago." Xiaoju rejoiced in his heart. He suppressed his excitement and whispered, "Xiao Chun is dead?" The black-clad old man replied, "I don't know about that. Right now, no one can find any news from either side. However, young city lord, don't worry. Even if he managed to escape, he would be severely injured. If he still dares to come to the king conferral ceremony, he..." Chapter 994. At the end, the old man smiled sinisterly. Xiaoju also revealed a smile. Participating in the king conferral ceremony in such a state was definitely seeking humiliation, becoming a foil for him. The Azura race's young clan head, Lan Xiaobai, comes to offer congratulations. The Kuafu race's Run Kongjue comes to offer congratulations. 2 genius experts of the ancient races handed over their invitations. Immediately, someone called out the names of these people. This immediately attracted the gazes of many people. These 2 could be considered the peak outstanding talents of the younger generation. Unexpectedly, they came to the Bushin Palace's king conferral ceremony as well. After that, many other famous, outstanding talents came. The heavenly starry oceans, Xian Shui, Sek's young sect master, and even a mysterious person from the Zodiac Hall came. After that, the Fiend Domain's Peacock King's descendant, the Fox King's adopted daughter and disciple, came personally, attracting everyone's attention. Congratulations rang out endlessly. More major characters from the Ghost Domain, Corpse Domain, and Profound Domain arrived. The descendants of several sovereign martial emperors came one after another, setting off waves of startled sighs in the plaza. Even Xiahou Ju, who was on the tall platform, frowned slightly. Xiao Chun was still aware of his own limitations. Given his fame, he could not attract so many people. That fellow's fame is truly resounding. However, this is good as well. Today, I can use your fame to support my king conferral ceremony. In the Haotian sect's VIP stands, Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu looked around, trying to find that familiar white figure. However, they withdrew their gazes in disappointment every time. Shui Lingling, who sat in the middle, bit her lip and frowned slightly. Why is this fellow in such a rush? If he still does not come, it will be too late. In the other places, the people on good terms with Xiao Chun saw that Xiao Chun was not on the tall platform. They could not hide their disappointment and worry. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the square. It was Di Wuk and Goddess Tianyu, she who came to congratulate them. Under everyone's gaze, Di Wuk had a confident smile on his face as he arrived at the Protoss VIP seats with Tianyu Shi. The fact that Di Wuk would actually come was out of many people's expectations. Glancing at the high platform, Di Wuk did not see Xiao Chen's figure. He calmed down a little and went to the VIP seats of the Protoss with Tianyu Shi. After about 15 minutes, when the black-clad old man hosting the ceremony saw that all the guests had arrived, he said eagerly, "Thank you, honored guests, for coming from afar to witness the king conferral ceremony of my Bushin Palace's new White Tiger King, young Master Xiahou Ju. Now that the auspicious hour has arrived, I hereby announce the official start of the king conferral ceremony." Right after the black-clad old man spoke, the huge ceremonial cannons placed in the plaza gave off loud rumbles. Clumps of light shot out and exploded, turning into 7-colored heavenly flowers that rained down from the sky. This was a man-made, mysterious phenomenon that consumed a lot of resources. Normally, they were 5-colored heavenly flowers. This time, for the sake of this king conferral ceremony, the White Emperor City's Holy Lord did not hesitate to expend a lot of resources to create such magnificent 7-colored heavenly flowers. The heavenly flowers rained down, too beautiful to behold. However, several people showed anxious expressions and did not have time to appreciate the scene. "Who is it? How dare you barge into the Qianwu Plaza?" Just as Bai Shui Lingling and the others were about to lose their patience, something strange happened. 3 explosive shouts came from outside the plaza. 3 Bushin Palace Grandmaster-level martial sages with extremely strong auras soared into the air, radiating killing chi. They wanted to kill the person barging into the plaza on the spot. Peering through the sky, full of petals, one could vaguely see a white figure. The heavenly flowers rained down in a rainbow. Who was barging into the Tianwu Plaza? Did this person not know that the Bushin Palace, which was filled with experts, dared to cause trouble here? How bold was this person? The roar immediately attracted the attention of the crowd. The geniuses and the leaders of the sects all directed their gazes in the direction of the roar. The 3 Bushin Palace Grandmaster-level martial sages attacked ruthlessly, showing no mercy. The 3 of them executed their martial techniques, causing the sky to tremble and light to spread everywhere. The tremors caused the heavenly flowers to fly everywhere, and a strong wind blew. An indistinct white tiger image appeared behind them. That was the holy beast martial spirit. These 3 people were White Emperor City's Grandmaster-level martial sages. This person is going to die. Amid the boundless heavenly flowers, the strong wind covered the person's face. Only a vague silhouette could be seen. Although the crowd did not know who these people were, the 3 Bushin Palace Grandmaster-level martial sages were from the White Emperor City, a holy land. When they attacked, their demeanor and aura showed that they could kill an ordinary great grandmaster level martial sages with one strike. Based on this person's age and aura, he did not seem like a great grandmaster level martial sage. How could he survive? Clang. However, just as the three's martial techniques approached that person, a saber hum resounded in the sky. A bright saber light covered the blazing sun in the sky. Night suddenly fell. Only a saber light as resplendent and bright as the moon remained. The night was flawless, and the moon was perfect and flawless. There was an explosion in the air, and the moonlight vanished. The three great grandmaster-level martial sages were knocked back 1 kilometer. The entire place was set abuzz. One person faced three great grandmaster-level martial sages alone. Not only did he not lose, but he even knocked them back. Who exactly was this person? The white figure moved gently. His clothes fluttered, and his hair fluttered. Then, he crossed the sky, full of flower petals, and landed on the tall platform. Stop him! Whoosh! Many figures shot out from the ground. The weakest of these people were Grandmaster-level martial sages. There were also many great Grandmaster-level martial sages. If an outsider dared to barge into the king conferral ceremony, it would be a big joke. Ding! Ding! Dang! Dang! The white figure's hair fluttered, and saber music rang out like zither music. A wondrous zither song played in the sky. Boundless saber intent reverberated in the sky. One by one, the figures that shot into the air were lightly brushed by the white figure. Xiaochun. As the crowd approached, they could clearly see the appearance of that white figure. Several people's expressions changed as they cried out in shock. After passing the final great Grandmaster-level martial sages blocking his way, Xiaochun landed on the tall platform. Then he tossed out his identity medallion and handed it to the old man beside Xiao Hoju. In a neither servile nor overbearing manner, Xiaochun said in a calm tone, "I am the Haotian sex Xiaochun, conferred king conferral. Sorry for being late." When the black-clad old man saw the name on the identity medallion, his expression flickered. Back in the Bushin Palace, he was the trusted aide of the White Emperor City's Holy Lord. Otherwise, he would not have been the one to host this king conferral ceremony. These simple and indifferent words confirmed Xiao Chen's identity. A loud commotion resounded in the plaza. It really is Xiao Chen. He really came. Wasn't it rumored that the 10 great Grandmaster-level martial sages of the deity race severely injured him? That doesn't seem like it at all. In the Haotian sect's guest stands, Shui Lingling revealed a gentle smile as she heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that Xiaoqin came. As long as he was alive, there was hope for everything. Bai, who stood with Kong Yuan and Yuan Su, squinted his eyes like a pair of crescent moons. His face filled with a joyful smile. The ghost race's Qing Cheng smiled faintly. In the end, this fellow did not disappoint her. In the end, he still came. The Full Moon Pavilion's Feng Xingxing, the Shimin clan Shimin Bao, the Battle Realm genius Niu Deng, and the others were slightly startled, not having expected this. Despite so many traps and layers of obstruction, Xiaoqin still appeared at the king conferral ceremony, arriving as promised. Some were shocked, some were disappointed, some rejoiced, and some were strangely furious. The deity race's Di Wuk showed a sullen expression. Xiaochun appeared alive, and the deity race's great Grandmaster-level martial sages were nowhere to be found. That meant only one thing. The great Grandmaster-level martial sages who forged the deity statue all died at Xiaochun's hands. In the corpse race's VIP seats, Xingju, the personal disciple of the corpse god palace's heaven-punishing corpse god, said to Wei Hua, the underworld fire sovereign's descendant, "This person is Xiaochun. He is the one who defeated you and Long Fei on Dragonwood Star, as well as the Iron Hand sovereign's descendant, Kuei Do." Aside from the corpse god's bloodline, the corpse god palace had 4 other sovereign martial emperors, each of them in charge of a faction. The underworld fire sovereign, the white bone sovereign, the death fire sovereign, and the ghost fire sovereign. In the past, there was also the Iron Hand sovereign who cultivated the physical body. However, The Iron Hand sovereign had already betrayed the corpse god palace and was not counted. A murderous intent flashed in Wei Hua's eyes. He said through clenched teeth, "That's him." Xing Ju's gaze was frivolous, and his lips curled up slightly. He remained silent, thinking about something. Xiao Qin's appearance was unexpected, catching that black-clad old man off guard. He did not know what to say. "Senior, is my identity fake?" The black-clad old man recovered his wits and handed his identity medallion to Xiao Qin. "Your identity is not fake," Xiao Qin asked indifferently. "In that case, can we begin the king conferral ceremony?" Xiao Hoju, who was at the side, smiled coldly and said, "You speak in such absolute terms. Whether you can be conferred king or not is not decided yet. During the king conferral ceremony, experts of the same generation can challenge each other. If someone beats you half to death, there is no need for you to continue being conferred king." Xiao Qin's eyes narrowed. Then, he turned his head to look at Xiao Hoju and smiled. "Brother Xiao, since you are so confident, how about the two of us exchange moves first before being conferred king?" This provoked Xiao Hoju to agree. However, the black-clad old man at the side quickly said, "Young master, don't be rash. Confer king first." At the same time, Xiao Hoju sent a voice projection, "Don't fight with him first. Someone will deal with him later. Later, when everyone comes to offer their congratulations, the Holy Lord has already made arrangements. Let him make a fool of himself first." Xiao Hoju snorted coldly and ignored Xiao Qin. When everyone came to offer their congratulations, it was a competition of connections. When everyone came to offer their congratulations, Xiao Hoju was confident that, given the White Tiger Holy Lord status, no one in the Tianwu domain would dare to not give him face. Under the Holy Lord's pressure, aside from the Haotian sect, no one in the Tianwu domain would send a congratulatory gift to Xiao Qin. At that time, there would be an endless stream of people coming to offer their congratulations. This would be a sharp contrast to the cold and cheerless scene of the other party. The king conferral ceremony began. The black-clad old man started to recite Xiao Hoju's military merits, speaking in an excited voice. "Xiao Hoju, 1,000,000 military merits, a great contribution. Bushan Palace specially conferred the title of White Tiger King, 100 bottles of sage-grade medicinal pills, 1 heaven-rank cultivation technique, 1 king-grade secret treasure, and 1 set of White Tiger King armor." After detailing Xiao Hoju's military merits, the black-clad old man started to announce the rewards that Bushin Palace gave out. The long list of rewards was all worth cities. Music rang out, and beautiful girls on both sides of the tall platform stepped forward to help Xiao Hoju put on the White Tiger King armor, which shone with a bright light. Qian Yun of the Flowing Cloud sect is here on the orders of the sect master to congratulate young master Xiao Hoju on being conferred king. We hereby present a peak spirit vein. Chapter 995. After Xiao Hoju put on his clothes, he looked very awe-inspiring. Immediately, the sect sent their congratulatory gifts. The gift they gave was a top-grade spirit vein right off the bat. The generosity of a 9th-rank sect was indeed extraordinary. After accepting the gifts, Xiao Hoju smiled faintly and gave Xiao Qin a playful look. The Thousand Mysteries sect congratulates young master Xiao Hoju on being conferred king. We hereby send 50 tons of black pattern gold. The Clearwater Gate congratulates young master Xiao Hoju on being conferred king. We hereby send 50 tons of 1,000-year-old profound iron. The Bloodsaber Pavilion congratulates young master Xiao Hoju on being conferred king. We hereby send a peak king grade secret treasure. Given the connections of the White Emperor City's Holy Lord, the 9 ranks of the great families of the Tianwu domain, aside from the Haotian sect, all sent their gifts. The scene was extremely majestic. This continued for 1 hour before the Tianwu domain's gift-givers slowly stopped. Xiao Hoju smiled endlessly. He purposely waved his hand and said to Xiao Qin, "Brother Xiao, there are too many gifts. My hands are getting tired. If Brother Xiao does not receive any gifts, you can come to me to choose a few after this." The black-clad old man smiled and said, This is the difference between a holy land and an ordinary sect. Some people are really bold, daring to be conferred king together with young Master Xia. Xiao Chun frowned slightly. He did not understand what was there to be proud of. He only cared about the title of the Blue Dragon King. Aside from that, everything else was meaningless. As for the congratulatory gifts, Xiao Chun did not care much about them. Right now, he only cared about one thing. What was his title? Xiahou Ju was the White Tiger King. In that case, would he be the White Robe King or the Blue Dragon King? If it was the former, there was no need for him to remain in this king conferral ceremony. Xiao Chun would beat up this Xiahou Ju and vent the frustration he suffered along the way. Then, he would flick his sleeves and leave. If it was the Blue Dragon King, he could endure it for a while and vent his anger in the future. Xiahou Ju's title had been read out. Next, he would be awarded the badge and sworn allegiance to Bushan Palace. Then, he would be the real Bushan Palace's White Tiger King. He could announce his title to the outside world and receive special treatment within the jurisdiction of Bushan Palace. However, before that, they had to announce Xiao Chen's title and wait for him to accept the congratulatory gifts before they could award the Xiahou Ju the emblem. Somewhat reluctantly, the black-clad old man took out the Bushan Palace announcement and read, Xiao Chun, 1,000,000 military merits, title Blue Dragon King, personally appointed by the Thunder King. Compared to Xiahou Ju's lengthy announcement, the black-clad old man's announcement of Xiao Chen's king conferral was clearly much simpler. His tone even seemed a little reluctant and perfunctory. However, these few words, especially the last 4 words, were personally appointed by the Thunder King. This made everyone present take a deep breath. To think that the Thunder King personally appointed Xiao Chen's title. The strongest human expert, a legend from the same generation as the Qing Emperor, actually participated in something that was not worth mentioning to them. When Xiahou Ju saw everyone's reactions, he felt displeased. He thought to himself, just you wait. Let's see what congratulatory gifts you can receive. When you receive a pile of trash, let's see how you can still be pleased. The Haotian sect's Shui Lingling congratulates Xiao Chun on being conferred king. After the black-clad old man finished reading, Shui Lingling floated up. Holding a wooden box, she walked over to Xiao Chun and said with a smile, Junior brother, congratulations on being conferred king. This is my gift. Xiao Chun received the box, but was not in a rush to open it. He raised his head and said with a smile, Thank you, senior sister. Aren't you going to open it and take a look? Shui Lingling blinked. At the side, Xiahou Ju sneered, It is just trash. How could I be embarrassed to open it? Xiao Chun frowned slightly. He had long since resented the 3 holy masters, especially the White Emperor City's city lord. It would not be an exaggeration to say that Xiao Chen's path to being conferred king had been fraught with death. Fortunately, the Thunder King stood up for him, helping him obtain the title of Blue Dragon King. Right now, Xiao Chun did not want to cause too much trouble. Xiao Chun gently opened the wooden box, and cold qi poured out. Snowflakes drifted down from the sky. A translucent frost pearl slowly flew out from the box. Instantly, snowflakes flew everywhere, dancing in the air above the entire Tianwu Plaza. Someone stretched out his hand and grabbed the snowflake. Then, his expression changed drastically as he exclaimed, This is the long-lost ice immortal pearl. It is said to be a treasure from the immortal epic. After refining it, one can directly comprehend the will of ice to great perfection. This thing actually exists. It is a treasure that can directly allow one to comprehend an additional will. Exclamations resounded in the surroundings. Everyone looked at the wooden box in Xiao Chen's hand with envious expressions. Just this ice immortal pearl surpassed all the gifts that Xiahou Ju had received. Xiahou Ju's face darkened slightly. He had not expected that Shui Lingling would give him such a precious item. Earlier, Xiao Chun called it trash. Now, he was slapping his own face. He really wanted to find a hole in the ground to hide in. Xiao Chun put away the ice immortal pearl and smiled at Xiahou Ju. Brother Xiahou, your horizons are really extraordinary. I wonder how many of such trash you have in your hands? Xiao Chun purposely emphasized the word trash, angering Xiahou Ju so much that his expression turned sullen. However, he could not find anything to rebut. Don't get cocky. I will be watching from here in the Tianwu domain. Who else will come and give you a congratulatory gift? Xiahou Ju was very frustrated. After holding in for a long time, he could not think of anything else to say. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not argue with him. He performed a cupped fist salute and thanked Shui Lingling again. This was an important gift that even Xiao Chen found hard to reject. Bai is here to congratulate elder brother Xiao Chun on being conferred the Blue Dragon King. Just as Xiahou Ju was waiting to see Xiao Chun make a fool of himself, he saw a young girl hopping over. She was also carrying a wooden box. The girl was very beautiful, charming, and enchanting. However, she also had a youthful and lively air. Her enchanting face did not look tacky. However, Xiao Chun had never heard of the name Bai before. Right after Xiao Chun spoke, someone came over to slap his face with a gift. Furthermore, it was a name that he had never heard of before. After being embarrassed by Shui Lingling earlier, Xiahou Ju could not help saying, "Where did this wild girl come from?" Xiao Chun, only such an unpresentable character would give you a gift. Bai directly ignored Xiahou Ju. She looked at Xiao Chun happily and said, "Elder brother Xiao Chun, open it and take a look. I pestered adoptive father for a long time to get this. He said that you would need it soon." When Xiahou Ju saw that Bai ignored him, he could not help feeling even angrier. What was his status? He was the holy son of the Tianwu domain, the White Tiger King, an outstanding talent of the younger generation. Unexpectedly, this girl dared to ignore him, treating him like air. Xiao Chun could not help but get angry. He circulated his energy and pushed off the ground. A formless energy caused the wooden box to shatter with a bang, and cracks appeared on it. When Xiao Chun saw this scene, he laughed loudly. Indeed, an unpresentable character. A box containing treasures cannot even withstand a gust of wind. Such a wooden box is definitely trash. Bang! The wooden box completely shattered, and a golden light flashed. Then, a golden dragon circled the sky. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A drizzle fell, and golden spiritual rain drifted down from the sky. The spiritual energy in the entire Tianwu Plaza suddenly became 10 times denser, 100 times denser. Someone opened his mouth and sucked the golden spiritual rain into his mouth. That person immediately felt refreshed, and his law energy improved significantly. His expression changed dramatically, and his eyeballs nearly fell out. He said in a trembling voice, "This is a Holy Spirit vein. It really is a Holy Spirit vein, second only to a King Spirit vein. Even for most of the 9 ranks of the great families, there was only one Holy Spirit vein. It was used to stabilize one's luck. In fact, there was an unwritten rule in this world that only sects with Holy Spirit veins were worthy of the 9 ranks of the great families. With a Holy Spirit vein, it would be an exaggeration to say that establishing one of the 9 ranks of the great families would not be difficult. The entire plaza burst into an uproar. Several people directly circulated their energies and opened their mouths, sucking in the golden spiritual rain in large mouthfuls. Among the 9 ranks of the great families, only a few intersect elders could enjoy a Holy Spirit vein. Furthermore, there was a time limit. If it exceeded the time limit, it had to stop. At this moment, a Holy Spirit vein leaked out. Naturally, the cultivators who had never seen a Holy Spirit vein before could not contain their excitement. Xiahou Ju's complexion turned ashen. His mouth gaped open, and his face turned red. He was so shocked that he could not say anything. Whoosh! 2 figures shot out, each holding a seal. They quickly subdued and suppressed the Holy Spirit vein. Then they shouted at Xiahou Ju, "Xiahou Ju, how bold of you! To think that you dare to boast shamelessly before the Fox King's adopted daughter. Who gave you such courage? In your eyes, even the Fox King is a minor character." The moment these words came out, the uproar immediately stopped. Everyone looked at Xiao Ju, revealing expressions of pity. Who could have imagined that aside from being pretty, this girl, with an unsophisticated name, was actually the Fox King's adopted daughter? Who was the Fox King? He was one of the 5 great experts of the Kunlun realm. He was as famous as the Thunder King, Emperor Forsaken, and the heaven-punishing corpse god, the Dongyue Ghost Emperor. In terms of status, prestige, and strength, the Fox King was much stronger than the White Emperor City Lord, the White Tiger Holy Lord. The White Tiger Holy Lord was an absolute peak character of the Tianwu domain. Even when the Thunder King came out of closed-door cultivation, he did not dare to call others minor characters. Yet he, Xiao Ju, actually said such a thing. This joke, in front of all the heroes of the world, was really too big of a joke. Xiao Chen had slapped his own face too ruthlessly. But I put away the Holy Spirit vein and smiled. Don't bother with bad people. Today is elder brother Xiao Chen's big day of being conferred king. There is no need to be angry. The black-clad old man, who was already somewhat frightened, heaved a sigh of relief. If the other party had not let it go, this matter would have blown up. Hee. Elder brother Xiao Chen, do you like it? If you do, I'll get adoptive father to give you a few more. But I looked at Xiao Chen in anticipation. When the others heard this, they could not help but vomit blood. The Fox King's adopted daughter was indeed extraordinary. Holy Spirit veins were like buns. If he liked them, he would give her a few more. Xiao Chen accepted the Holy Spirit vein, feeling helpless in his heart. He did not know how to answer. If he said that he liked them, the Fox King would probably have the urge to chop him up. How could a Holy Spirit vein be like buns? Giving him one was already a great gift. If he said that he did not like them, I would definitely be disappointed. Fortunately, Kong Yuan and Yuan Su were here. They quickly tried to smooth things over, pulling Bai away. Sure, Chin, let's go down first. There are still gifts to give later. Don't delay. Chapter 996. I saw that there was indeed a group of people below the platform. They had arrived early, but had waited for a long time. Bai Chen stuck out his tongue and smiled embarrassedly. Then, he quickly went down with the other 2. After that, there were a few people. The leader was an old man who did not have a high cultivation. He was barely a peak superior grade martial monarch and looked very ordinary. A group of people behind him carried a 200-meter-long metal box as they followed the old man with some difficulty. The old man performed a cup fist salute and said, "On the orders of my clan's young master, Yi Chun, we are here to congratulate you on being conferred king. We have prepared a small gift as a token of our respect." Yi Chun? Xiao Chun had never heard of this name before. Xiao Ju learned his lesson and asked the black-clad old man for guidance. The other party shook his head, indicating that there was no such person in the Kunlun continent. None of the leaders of the major powers in the Kunlun continent had the surname Yi. Xiao Ju was now confident that this person's invitation was definitely bought to support Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun could not help but smile coldly to himself. I don't believe it. Your friends are all major characters. How high can a servant, who is only a peak martial monarch, be? Originally, Xiao Chun thought that with so many people coming to congratulate him, he would embarrass Xiao Chun greatly before he was officially conferred king. However, who could have imagined that only the Hao Ian sect of the Tianwu domain would send a big gift? However, this big gift surpassed all of Xiao Chen's gifts. Then, the Fox King's adopted daughter came to send a gift, embarrassing Xiao Chun even further. Since when had Xiao Chun ever lost so much face? Furthermore, he had lost it in front of all the outstanding talents of the world. How could he endure this? Xiao Chun raised his hand and pushed, circulating his law energy. Then, a beam of energy containing holy might shot out. The old man was caught off guard. How could he have expected Xiao Ju to attack him? He vomited a mouthful of blood and got knocked back. Men, carefully check this person's invitation and verify his identity. Does he really think that any random person can sneak into my king conferral ceremony? What a scandal. Xiao Ju's expression was gloomy, but he was secretly pleased with himself. Xiao Chun, let's see how you're going to get out of this situation this time. You're just a character who got in by buying an invitation, and you still have the nerve to come up and give me a gift? Today, I attacked him in front of everyone. What do you do to me? Pa! A resounding slap rang out. Xiao Qin's eyes were overflowing with killing intent. In the time it takes for a spark to fly off a flint, he slapped Xiao Qin. Intolerable. No need to endure anymore. The Holy Lord of White Emperor City secretly made a move on me on my way to being conferred king, causing me to have a narrow escape from death. I almost couldn't make it to this king conferring ceremony. It hadn't been easy for him to rush over, but this fellow had still provoked him time and time again. He had tolerated it time and time again for the sake of the big picture, but this fellow had gone from bad to worse. He had even touched the person sent by his friend to congratulate him. This was a move that no one expected. Before everyone's eyes, Xiao Qin sent the bona fide Holy Scion flying with one slap. Not only was Xiao Hoju stunned by the slap, but everyone present was stunned as well. At the foot of the Bushin Palace, Xiao Qin directly slapped Xiao Hoju into the air before everyone. The slap was very loud and heavy. Everyone in the entire Tianwu Plaza could hear it. Di Wuk, who was sitting with Tian Yushi, was somewhat stunned. He said softly, "He is too sharp. We need to stop him this time. Otherwise, he will really grow stronger." Several people thought the same as Di Wuk. Xiao Hoju clearly wanted to embarrass Xiao Qin, purposely injuring the person who gave him the gift, putting him on the spot. However, who could have imagined that Xiao Qin would be so decisive, using the most intense method to react? If you dare to hit my person, then I dare to hit your face. If you want to see who is more ruthless, then let's see who is more ruthless. The corpse god's personal disciple, Xing Ju, originally appeared calm, but murderous intent flashed on his face. No one knew what he was thinking. Some of the people who had conflicts with Xiao Qin and were preparing to cause trouble for Xiao Qin at the king conferral ceremony all showed unsightly expressions. "You dare to slap me?" Xiao Hoju showed extreme rage on his face. He stretched out his hand, and a tiger roar resounded. The clouds came from the dragon, and the wind came from the tiger. With this roar, a boundless strong wind blew. Wild wind. What kind of wind could truly be called wild? It had to have momentum, boundless momentum, taller than the sky, wider than the earth, vaster than the sea, and more ferocious than the river. The wind that Xiao Hoju gathered with his finger could definitely be called wild. When Xiao Qin pointed, wind blew from all directions. A black whirlpool appeared out of nowhere and sucked Xiao Qin in. Rumble! A strong wind blew, and bolts of lightning streaked across the sky. The clouds pressed down, and heavy rain poured down. Wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. The wind was in front, and the rain was behind. Thunder and lightning flashed and rumbled. The power of this finger used the wind as the foundation, materializing a complete mysterious phenomenon. This instantly increased the might of this finger tenfold. In a rage, Xiao Hoju made his move, materializing the mysterious phenomenon of wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. This mysterious phenomenon directly sucked Xiao Qin in. A wild aura spread out from Xiao Hoju's body. Everyone in the Tianwu Plaza could feel the sharpness and will of Xiao Hoju. There was only one word for it: wild. I really underestimated Xiao Hoju. Unexpectedly, the power of one finger is so strong. He is the Holy Land Scion, after all. I wonder how Xiao Qin is doing in there. He probably isn't having a good time. Xiao Hoju's finger gathered momentum too quickly. The wind blew, the rain arrived, and lightning followed. There is no way to dodge within 100 meters. The sudden berserk, Xiao Hoju changed the situation in the plaza. It seemed like a fierce battle was about to begin. When Xiao Qin attacked, the strength that he displayed startled everyone. Unexpectedly, he instantly sucked in Xiao Qin. Everyone wondered what was going on with Xiao Qin in there. Bright moonlight flew out from the black whirlpool. A full moon hung high in the sky. The sky slowly turned dark. A perfect night, a perfect moon, lonely, cold, and calm. A cool breeze blew, and the saber sounded like music, like a zither or a flute. It rang out continuously as if the cool breeze was echoing at the top of a mountain. Calm and collected, unflustered in the face of danger. If he was wild, let him be wild. The bright moon illuminates the river. If he was wild, let him be wild. The cool breeze blows the mountain. One's aura will eventually run out. Look at him being wild. I will not move. When I move, the wind scatters, the rain shatters, the thunder shatters, and the lightning shatters. Xiaohoju's expression changed slightly. The might of this finger was tyrannical to the 9 heavens. However, it was like he had struck a ball of cotton, grabbing nothing. The might of one move was, after all, only one move. If he wanted to continue, he would have to change moves. With a thought, Xiaohoju formed a hand seal with one hand, wanting to change moves again. Boom! However, just as Xiao Qian's finger's might ran out, a saber light shot out from the black whirlpool. The violent wind suddenly dissipated, and the thunderstorm that was triggered by the wind naturally collapsed along with it. The seemingly berserk attack broke when a strand of saber light appeared. Just as Xiaohoju was about to launch his second finger attack, Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and took the initiative to attack. The bright moon in the sky turned into a strand of saber chi and launched a sneak attack. Xiaohoju could only scatter his energy to defend. This strand of saber light knocked Xiao Chun back again. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. He was significantly injured. Young Master Xia, the invitation is real. The young master of the Heavenly Starry Ocean's Northern Sea Alliance's alliance chief personally sent people. Just as Xiaohoju raged in his heart and got to his feet, preparing to fight Xiao Chun. The Bushan Palace's people had already checked the old man's invitation and announced the results. How can this be? How can this group of people be from a Northern Sea Alliance? Xiaohoju felt somewhat dizzy. All his fighting spirit vanished, replaced by a chill. To think that he was from a Northern Sea Alliance. The Northern Sea Alliance was far from the Kunlun continent. No wonder Xiao Chun had never heard of the name Yi Chun. However, Xiao Chun had heard of the Northern Sea Alliance before. It was a super faction of the Heavenly Starry Ocean. In terms of strength and accumulations, it was weaker than Bushin Palace. However, it was much stronger than Xiao Qian's White Emperor City. Misfortune truly did not come alone. First, Xiao Chun offended the Fox King's adoptive daughter. Then, he offended the Northern Sea Alliance's people. What kind of demonic existences were Xiao Qian's friends? The gazes of the others on Xiaohoju turned from sympathy to pity. With the various factions coming to congratulate Xiao Chun, White Emperor City had made ample preparations. The various major factions of the Tianwu domain had come out one after another, putting Xiaohoju in the limelight. However, when it was Xiao Qian's turn, Xue Lingling immediately defeated Xiaohoju. Not only did Xiao Chun lose face, but he also offended the Fox King and the Northern Sea Alliance, 2 major factions. Old sir, are you all right? After slapping the other party, Xiao Chun had vented some of his frustration. He could not be bothered to waste time with the other party anymore. He quickly walked over to the old man that Xiaohoju injured. The old man smiled and said, "The injuries are not serious. After recuperating for a while, he will be fine." Young Master said that young Master Xiao is a loyal person. Indeed, it is true. This big gift is worth it. Open the box. Young Master Xiao, please appreciate this big gift. My young master's gift will not embarrass the Northern Sea Alliance. Even with 10-odd peak martial monarchs carrying the 200-meter-long metal box, they still found it hard to do so. What exactly was in the box? Many people had long been curious about this mysterious metal box. It seemed like each of Xiao Qian's friends was more incredible than the last. The Fox King's adopted daughter already gave a Holy Spirit vein. Could the things in the metal box compare to a Holy Spirit vein? Upon hearing the order to open the box, the cultivators carrying it all heaved a sigh of relief. With a flip of their hands, they opened the mechanism. The huge metal box's lid sprang open. Roar! The instant the box was opened, a dragon roar that had been suppressed for a long time came from the metal box. The surroundings trembled, and a surging dragon might spread out in all directions. This was different from the dragon might that ordinary cultivators imitated. This was the most primitive dragon might. It gave off an ancient and desolate aura, as if it had been many tens of thousands of years. The voice of a true dragon. What is in there? It has such a horrifying dragon might. Could it be the spine of a true dragon? A 200-meter-long true dragon spine. That is too exaggerated. In that case, how big was the true dragon when it was alive? The bones of a true dragon were worth cities. Their rarity went without saying. Among the bones, the spine of a true dragon was the most precious. Chapter 997. Back then, Enju had obtained a rare spine and forged it into a subdivine weapon, the true dragon lightning whip. That spine was no more than 10 meters long, but it was already extremely rare and could be made into a subdivine weapon. The true dragon spine before Shao Chun was 200 meters long. How horrifying would its value be? As the saying went, dragons lurked in the depths. This saying was true. Probably only the Northern Sea Alliance could find such a long, true dragon spine in the world. The large metal box quickly closed. Shao Chun felt somewhat startled. This gift was too heavy, so heavy that he did not dare to accept it. Young Master Shao, there's no need to worry. You saved my clan's young master's life in the heavenly ruin wasteland, so you deserve this gift. Furthermore, my clan's young master values his friends the most. Since young Master Shao is conferred the Blue Dragon King, you should be worthy of this King of Dragon Spine. The black-clad old man spoke leisurely. From his tone, it was clear that he had a good impression of Shao Chun. Clearly, Shao Chun's earlier slap had helped this old man vent his frustrations. Not far away, Xiahou Ju's eyes popped out. He thought to himself, trash, a pile of trash. This trash was not a gift that Shao Chun had received. Instead, it was something that he had received himself. Compared to Shao Chun, it could not even be considered trash. Now, Shao Chun seemed to understand what a friend was. The White Emperor City's Holy Lord stood at the peak of the Tianwu domain. He relied on his reputation to get the 100 sects of the Tianwu domain to congratulate him. These people were not related to Shao Chun at all. They only came because of the Holy Lord. How could they really give him a congratulatory gift on the level of a charming treasure? However, although Shao Chun's friends were few in number, they were all friendships that he had obtained with his life on the line. In the future, if these friends were in trouble, Shao Chun would definitely help them, not hesitating to go through water or tread on fire. Of the many people who came to congratulate him, one was a casual acquaintance who congratulated him for face. The other was a friend who had gone through life and death with him. Even if Shao Chun's friends only gave him a pile of junk, it would still be 10,000 times better than his pile of flashy, but impractical things. The people of the Northern Sea Alliance withdrew. The young master of the Muddy Sky Gate, one of the 3 peak sects of the Primal Chaos domain, Qi Wuxue, sent someone to deliver his congratulatory gift. Xiahou Ju was no stranger to the Muddy Sky sect. Its strength was almost the same as the current White Emperor City, but it lacked some resources. These were the people sent by the 3 overlords of the Primal Chaos domain. Xiahou Ju did not dare to underestimate them. But now, even if an ordinary person came, Xiahou Ju would not dare to do anything excessive. His face was trembling, and he didn't dare to look at the gifts that the others had given to Shao Chun. The more he looked at them, the sadder he felt. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that what he had accepted was a pile of trash, and that he was just finding trouble in his heart. What Qi Wuxue asked someone to deliver was the beautiful mountain and river painting. Back in the heavenly ruin wasteland, the few major factions had worked together to fight over it. In the end, the Muddy Sky Gate ended up winning it. This was another valuable treasure. When everyone saw it, their eyes turned bloodshot with fervent expressions. Following that, the corpse race White Bone Sovereign's descendant, the Dragon Man, delivered his congratulatory gift. However, this Dragonman's gift was rather special. It was a note. This note recorded the traces of the Despair Throne, which the Dragon Man had found in the heavenly starry ocean. This was useful and practical information to Shao Chun. Congratulations. This lady does not have much to give, so I will give you a soul-gathering pearl. The ghost race's Qing Cheng stepped forward and delivered her congratulatory gift. Although Qing Cheng spoke casually, it still caused a significant commotion. What was the use of a soul-gathering pearl? When a person died, their 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical souls would immediately scatter. A soul-gathering pearl could ensure that the soul would not scatter for 7 days. If one's physical body did not deteriorate within 7 days, it could create a heaven-defying miracle of resurrection. At this moment, everyone's eyes lit up as they looked at Xiao Chun. It was like they were looking at a human-shaped treasure trove. If anyone managed to rob Xiao Chun, they would obtain boundless wealth. Young Master Xiao, a stranger asked me to pass this painting to you during the king conferral ceremony. Congratulations on being conferred king. A fiend-race cultivator that Xiao Chun did not recognize stepped forward and handed him a painting. Xiao Chun unfurled the painting, feeling somewhat confused. The painting was only black and white. It depicted the scene behind the bridge of helplessness in the 9 layers of purgatory. Behind the headless Kitagarbha Bodhisattva, an azure-clad man was looking at the fragments of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Xiao Chun could only see his back, not his appearance. Aside from this, there was nothing special about it. It was just a very simple painting. With so many people, Xiao Chun found it strange. However, he did not show it on his face. He carefully put away the painting and said to the person who came, "Many thanks. This painting is very important to me. An old friend of mine gave it to me." The person who came smiled and said, "Young Master Xiao is too polite. It was just a slight effort on my part." Not many people came to give congratulatory gifts to Xiao Chun. Compared to Xiao Ho-Ju's many sects, it was much more deserted. However, at this point, everyone knew that the main character of the king conferral ceremony had already changed from Xiao Ho-Ju to Xiao Chun. Or rather, the main character had never changed. This was Xiao Chen's king conferral ceremony. Just when everyone thought that the shock was over, a congratulatory gift from the chaotic demonic sea shocked everyone again, flabbergasting them. The newly crowned empress of the chaotic demonic sea's merfolk race sent a congratulatory gift for Xiao Chen's king conferral. The Emperor-grade secret treasure, Neptune's crown. This was a bona fide Emperor-grade secret treasure. Furthermore, it was a secret treasure that Neptune used back then. As Xiao Chun received Neptune's crown, he knew that Yao Yan already had the Thorn Sovereign Circlet, and that this Neptune's crown was unnecessary. However, this was an Emperor-grade secret treasure, an Emperor-grade secret treasure that Neptune used in the past. Yet, Yao Yan gave it away just like that. It looked like Xiao Chun felt guilty about what happened in the Neptune Palace. The segment of congratulatory gifts finally came to an end. Compared to the two, Xiao Ho-Ju was utterly embarrassed, like a joke. In the distant honored guest stands, the Phoenix's Passion Palaces Nuan Muyun and the Divine Martial Gates Feng Wuji both revealed expressions of lingering fear. Back then, the 3 holy masters intended to send out one person to suppress Xiao Chun. Because the 2 did not have much ambition, they did not care about it, so they gave it to Xiao Ho-Ju. If they had not rejected it back then, the one standing on the platform would have been them. When they thought about what happened to Xiao Ho-Ju today, they all trembled in fear. Nuan Miyun sighed softly. Xiao Ho-Ju is a little too obsessed with these external things. He places too much importance on these external things. If his heart is a little more relaxed, with his talent, his strength can go a step further. Feng Wuji shook his head and said, "He has always been the strongest person of the human race's younger generation." When he met with Xiao Chun, who appeared out of nowhere, his mentality became unstable. Actually, this is understandable. Today's matter might not only be bad for him. Nuan Miyun looked around and said calmly, "This Xiao Chun is indeed strong. However, he has made too many enemies, and his sharpness is too strong. There might be variables in his king conferral." "What variables?" Nuan Miyun pointed in a direction and said, "Look over there. That pale-faced youth in black is the Dongyue Ghost Emperor's personal disciple, Xiezi Xuan." From the moment Xiao Chun arrived, the killing chi in his eyes never disappeared. "Look over there. That is the Corpse God Palace's heaven punishing Corpse God's disciple, Xingju. He is the strongest person of the corpse race's younger generation. When Xiao Chan made his move earlier, I also noticed the killing chi in his eyes. There is also Di Wuk. Even now, I still cannot see through him. I wonder what he is planning. The backers of these three are the strongest experts of the Kunlun realm. They are the most ambitious. How could they just watch as Xiao Chan is conferred king? As for the descendants of the other sovereign martial emperors, there is no telling if he can successfully obtain the Blue Dragon King's insignia. Feng Wuji looked in the direction Nguyen Muyun pointed. When he heard what she said, surprise appeared on his face. Clearly, he had not expected Xiao Chan to have so many strong enemies. The Danyue Ghost Emperor, Emperor Forsaken, and Xing Tian were all experts who were as famous as the Thunder King. Before Di Wuk and the other two came, they might have received instructions from them. Next was the conferment of the king's insignia. With this insignia, Xiao Chun would gain the Bushin Palace's recognition. Xiao Chen's conferment of the Blue Dragon King would be thoroughly acknowledged. Xiao Hoju should be able to obtain this insignia very easily. However, if Xiao Chen wanted to obtain it, it would be somewhat difficult. Before obtaining the insignia, the Bushin Palace allowed cultivators of the same generation to challenge the conferment of king. Under normal circumstances, on account of the Bushin Palace, they would stop at a certain point and exchange pointers. However, right now, the Bushin Palace, which was under the control of the three holy masters, clearly did not support Xiao Chun, nearly shedding all pretense of cordiality. Xiao Chun could no longer rely on the big tree that was the Bushin Palace. He could only rely on himself now. A pretty maidservant stepped forward, carrying a tray with the White Tiger King's insignia on it. It flickered with a silver light, giving off a treasured light. This was an extremely high-quality secret treasure in itself. After the oath of loyalty was completed, the pretty maidservant picked up the White Tiger King's insignia and prepared to pin it on Xiao Hoju's chest. Once it was pinned on, Xiao Hoju would be able to openly call himself the White Tiger King from now on. When the insignia was completely imprinted on Xiao Chen's chest, it turned into a white tiger and merged with his clothes. His white tiger battle armor also underwent some changes, seeming to be filled with more spirituality. As expected, he was successfully conferred king, and no one came to challenge him. Standing at the side, Xiao Hoju glanced at Xiao Chun and said, "Please, according to the Bushin Palace's rules, once you fail to be conferred king, all the congratulatory gifts will have to be returned. I look forward to your exciting expression at that time." This kind of person would always wait to see you make a fool of yourself. As long as you stumbled slightly, they would hit you while you were down and mock you with all their might. The maidservant brought the Blue Dragon King's insignia. The insignia was green in color and had the image of a dragon engraved on it. It gave off a faint green light, misty and dreamy. Under the guidance of the black-clad old man, Xiao Chun completed the oath of loyalty ceremony. After the old man recited some cumbersome words, he said, "Time has passed. The Blue Dragon King's insignia has been covered in dust for tens of thousands of years. Now, I bestow it to you. I hope you cherish it and take care of it." Humph! How noble is the title of Blue Dragon King. To think that the Bushin Palace would so casually bestow it on a nobody. Ren Kongjue, will not accept this. A cold shout rang out, and a tall and sturdy figure landed heavily on the platform. It was the Kwafu clan's Run Kongjue. Bang! When Run Kongjue landed, it was like a mountain crashing down, creating a loud sound. Dust flew up, and a shock wave split mountains. The compressed space rippled like water as it surged out. "It's here," Xiao Chun thought to himself as calm as still water. "It's here. The one that should come finally came. I will settle all the grudges of the past in this king conferral ceremony. Anyone who obstructs me from being conferred king will be defeated by me. No one will be able to escape my defeat." Who was Ren Kongjue? He was an outstanding talent of the ancient Kwafu clan. He had appeared in recent years. The moment he appeared, he shone brightly in the starry heaven silver lake, daring to compete with Di Wuk. The sand and dust that Ren Kongjue kicked up could split mountains. One could easily imagine how strong he was. Chapter 998. Bang! Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and pointed. A saber light flashed like the moon, easily splitting the sandstorm surging over in half. Ren Kongjue was tall and stout, with a thick waist and strong legs. Just by standing there, he gave off an intense pressure. When the black-clad old man saw the situation, he rejoiced. He smiled and said, "My Bushin Palace has always been fair when conferring kings. We never fear challenges from others. Xiao Chun, if you embarrass the Bushin Palace, then there's really no need for you to wear the Blue Dragon King's insignia." Shui Lingling bit her lip, showing a grave expression. The most crucial hurdle had finally arrived. The other party used the righteousness of the Bushin Palace to suppress Xiao Chun. He was clearly a vile person, but his words were righteous and dignified, making it impossible for Xiao Chun to find an excuse to rebut him. Although there had been challenges in the past conferring kings, the Bushin Palace had always used its strong influence to inform the various experts in advance. All they needed to do was to stop when necessary, and there would not be any major chaos. Now that Xiao Chun was being conferred king, the Bushin Palace naturally would not stand up for him. If they were not careful, they would not be able to continue with the conferring of king. The three holy masters could not openly stop Xiao Chun from being conferred king. They could only use some underhanded moves in secret. However, it had to be said that this move was very effective. First, they sent people to block off Xiao Chun, not letting him arrive on time. Even if he managed to arrive, he would still face the challenges of various enemies. Eventually, they would run out of manpower. Then, they would exhaust Xiao Chun, forcing him to give up on being conferred king. I Wei Hua am not convinced either. Seeing the black-clad old man's clear attitude, the underworld fire sovereign, Wei Hua, made up his mind. He leaped up and arrived at the platform. I, Kueido, am not convinced either. Xiao Chun, you are not qualified to be conferred king. The Iron Hand Sovereign's descendant's figure flashed and arrived at the platform as well. Immediately, three outstanding talents stood on the platform. All of them had very scary backgrounds. Behind them stood sovereign martial emperors. The cultivators and the surrounding spectator stands were all startled. Xiao Chen's friends were all ridiculously monstrous, but his opponents were also all terrifyingly valiant. If an ordinary person offended one of them, they wouldn't have a good life in the future. However, Xiao Chun had offended three of them in one go. Now, Xiao Chen's path to becoming a king would be somewhat uncertain. So, it was not over yet. Two people flew over from the sky. They were the primal chaos domain's heavenly music sects Xia Dongyang and the Frost Moon Palace's Xiao Qinghan. The two stood side by side and said simply, not convinced, expressing their stance. The Heavenly Music Sect and the Frost Moon Palace were peak factions of the primal chaos domain. These two sects had sovereign martial emperors. Even in the entire Kunlun realm, they were extremely strong factions. F*CK. Isn't this a little too exaggerated? 5 absolute geniuses appearing at the same time. Who among the same generation can withstand such a lineup? This is too extreme. It looks like the Bushin Palace did not intend to let Xiao Chun be conferred king from the start. Otherwise, they would not have sent these people invitations. The Blue Dragon King's title will probably continue to be covered in dust. Such a conferment of king is probably the most difficult in the history of the Bushin Palace. In the next moment, Xiao Chun, who had enjoyed boundless glory, fell into dire straits before everyone's eyes. Many people sighed softly, feeling that it was unfair for Xiao Chen's situation. In the distance, the disciples and inheritors of the East Mountain Ghost Monarch, the heaven-abandoning deity sovereign, and the East Mountain Ghost Monarch, the corpse god Xingju, and the heaven-abandoning deity sovereign did not make a move, watching coldly. These people had very sharp eyes. They could tell that Xiao Chun was somewhat different today, so they did not rashly make a move. However, once they saw an opportunity, they would not hesitate to kill. If the people outside knew that these 3 people were dissatisfied with Xiao Chun being conferred king, who knew how shocked they would be? When Xiao Hoju saw this scene, he could not help but rejoice. Heaven is helping me. In the end, I, Xiao Hoju, am still the main character of today's king conferral ceremony. Xiao Chun, no matter how many friends you have, No matter how impressive your congratulatory gifts are, you still have to return them if you fail to be conferred king. If you fail to be conferred king, it will probably be a shadow in the other party's heart, preventing them from advancing to martial emperor for the rest of their lives. The black-clad old man was slightly stunned. Clearly, he had not expected so many people with powerful backgrounds to be dissatisfied with Xiao Chen's conferral of king. The black-clad old man could not help thinking, although the Thunder King does not care about anything and is in closed-door cultivation most of the time, if the Thunder King really kills the person that the Thunder King appointed, it will be hard to explain to the three holy masters. Xiao Chun, it looks like you do not have enough prestige. So many people are not satisfied with you. You should leave the Blue Dragon King's insignia to the Bushin Palace for now, the black-clad old man said after some thought. The black-clothed old man said in a deep voice as he put away the Azure Dragon badge. Xiao Chun remained expressionless as he retorted rudely. It is just a few nobodies barking here and there. It means that I do not have enough prestige. Old mister, I think you're either senile or blind. Xiao Hoju berated. Xiao Chun, how bold of you. You are not conferred king yet, and you already dare to speak rudely to the seniors of the Bushin Palace. The old sir could not bear to see you beaten to death by others, so he advised you kindly. However, you do not appreciate it. Instead, you insulted him. How bold of you. Xiao Chun could not help guffawing. What a great, I do not appreciate it. You know the truth in your heart. If you think that I am bold, then I'll be bold for once. A piece of trash like you is not worthy of being conferred the White Tiger King. Bang! Ignoring the 5 people at the side, Xiao Chun turned around and charged at Xiao Hoju instead. Xiao Chen's body was like a saber, its sharpness changing. His simple palm strike was like a saber everywhere. The wind blew in all directions, and the saber's edge was endless. Xiao Hoju felt that Xiao Chen's palm strike was filled with killing intent. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide. However, Xiao Hoju's cultivation was deep. He was already a Grandmaster-level martial sage, so he did not panic. He believed that he would not have any problem exchanging 100 moves with Xiao Chun. After 10 moves, the 5 people at the side would definitely not be able to resist attacking. At that time, they would be able to cripple Xiao Chun. Xiao Hoju pointed, and a strong wind blew. A strong light shot out, trying to block Xiao Chun. However, something strange happened. While Xiao Chen's palm strike looked ordinary, it was like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. It swept away all of Xiao Hoju's attacks. By the time Xiao Hoju reacted, Xiao Chun had already stretched out his hand and grabbed his wrist. Instantly, thousands of sabers flew over. Xiao Hoju's white tiger battle armor flickered with light, riddling it with thousands of holes. The White Tiger King insignia that Xiao Chun had just imprinted on fell off with a ka-ca sound. Xiao Chun swung his hand, and 25,000 tons of force burst out. Xiao Hoju flew back like a meteor. Before he could react, he was flung away, disappearing without a trace. As the crowd watched, it seemed like Xiao Chun flew past the vast Tianwu city, continuing to fly forward without stopping for a long time. Xiao Chun crashed into a mountain 50 kilometers outside the city, splitting it in half. Xiao Hoju vomited a large mouthful of blood as he struggled to push aside the heavy rocks on his body. Then, he looked around in confusion. Strange peaks rose up in the desolate mountains, stretching out endlessly. Grass and trees supported the sky, but there was no one in sight. After coughing twice and vomiting a few more mouthfuls of blood, Xiao Hoju cursed. Damn it! What is this place? 1 second ago, Xiao Chen was still in the bustling Tianwu Plaza, filled with flowers. How did he end up in a desolate mountain range in the next second? This was a completely different world. Xiao Chun could not think straight. Xiao Chen turned his gaze back to the Tianwu Plaza. Although Xiao Chen's attack was short, when he used his full power, his cultivation was completely exposed. Great Grandmaster-level martial sage. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun is already a great Grandmaster-level martial sage. No wonder he could defeat Xiao Hoju with one palm strike when he was caught off guard. Everyone was startled. A great Grandmaster-level martial sage. Xiao Chen actually reached great Grandmaster level martial sage without anyone noticing. Even the peak of the younger generation was only a Grandmaster level martial sage. How exactly did this person cultivate? The black-clad old man looked at Xiao Hoju, who had been tossed somewhere. He trembled in anger and said, "Oh, you are really bold. You even dare to make a move on the newly advanced White Tiger King of the Bushin Palace." Xiao Chun held the White Tiger King's insignia and said calmly, "The Bushin Palace has always been fair and does not fear challenges from others. Is old sir's words just nonsense?" The black-clad old man felt stifled. He was indeed the one who said those words. However, who could have imagined that Xiao Chun would immediately challenge Xiao Hoju and even toss him away in one move? Xiao Chun could not be bothered with this black-clad old man. With a flip of his hand, the lunar shadow saber appeared in his grasp. Then he stabbed the scabbard into the ground. Bang! The top of the scabbard struck the ground heavily, and cracks spread out. Xiao Chen's white robes fluttered as he grasped the saber hilt. A boundless aura surged out together with this heavy sound. Rin Kongjue and the others could not help but take a step back. Who still dares to say that they are not convinced? Xiao Chun said indifferently as he looked calmly at the 5 people before him. Who still dares to say that they are not convinced? Xiao Chen's words were very casual. His gaze was as calm as still water. He only looked at the 5 people before him indifferently, not showing any sharpness. However, that flash of the aura of a great Grandmaster level martial sage easily broke Xiao Hoju's finger wind. All of this put a huge pressure on them. Ren, Kongjue, and the others felt a sense of oppression, like something was stuck in their throats. They could not say that they were not convinced. Silence. When they looked around, no one said anything. Nearly everyone was shocked by Xiao Chen's words. One person, one saber, and one sentence pressured the 5 outstanding talents to the point that they broke out in a cold sweat and lost all their sharpness. Isn't it just a great Grandmaster level martial sage? It's not like I have never killed great Grandmaster level martial sages before. This old man is not convinced that you are the Blue Dragon King. What do you dare to do? The Quafu race had always had a fiery temper. Ren Kongjue could no longer endure this oppressive aura, so he roared loudly. All outstanding talents had the ability to fight above their cultivation realm. As a peak superior grade martial sage, Xiao Chun could fight against great Grandmaster level martial sages. Ren Kongjue was a Grandmaster level martial sage. Furthermore, the Quafu race had a horrifying physical body. Naturally, he could kill some great Grandmaster level martial sages. Ren Kongjue's words were not false. However, he seemed to have forgotten. Perhaps he had forgotten on purpose. Like him, Xiao Chun was a demonic genius. Xiao Chen's talent, comprehension ability, and luck were higher. How could he compare to an ordinary great Grandmaster level martial sage? Even if Ren Kongjue had not advanced to great Grandmaster level martial sage, Xiao Chun would still be able to hold his own against him. Now that Ren Kongjue had advanced to great Grandmaster level martial sage, he would not stand any chance of victory against Xiao Chun. After Ren Kongjue cursed, he charged at Xiao Chun. Ren Kongjue's body was like a mountain. When he moved, it was like a mountain was uprooted. Loud rumbles resounded in the air. Chapter 999. The momentum of Ren Kongjue's charge caused space to tremble, forming lake-like waves. Regular opponents did not even need to get close. Just this momentum alone would be enough to defeat them and cause them to vomit blood. The strong ancient races did not have any innate abilities. How could they be called a strong ancient race? Xiao Chun was not surprised at all. He had been waiting for Ren Kongjue. These people before him were just appetizers. The true powerhouses were seated behind, watching coldly. If Xiao Chun could put in less effort here, he would have a higher chance of victory. If these 5 people attacked together, even though Xiao Chun was a great Grandmaster level martial sage, he would have to put in a lot of effort to deal with these prepared outstanding talents. It would be much easier to deal with Ren Kongjue alone, a raging Ren Kongjue at that. The wave-like space pressed down on everything. However, it did not have much effect on Xiao Chen's rank 4 sage body. He did not move at all. His eyes focused on the trajectory of Run Kongjue's attacks. With a flip of Xiao Qin's hand, the lunar shadow saber under his palm spun quickly. A strong wind blew, kicking up sand and rocks on the platform. The calm Xiao Qin suddenly burst forth with a torrential aura. As the lunar shadow saber spun, this aura slowly expanded. The compressed space before Xiao Qin reversed. Ren Kongjue, who was charging over like a tall mountain, paused. He was clearly caught off guard by the reversed wind. Bang! The instant Ren Kongjue paused, less than a tenth of a breath, the spinning lunar shadow saber under Xiao Qin's palm stopped spinning as well. Then, a saber light lit up, looking as resplendent as the sun. The entire platform was encased in white light. When the light vanished and everything calmed down, everyone saw that Xiao Qin was holding the sheathed lunar shadow saber. The tip of the scabbard tapped Run Kongjue's forehead. Blood flowed out of his forehead and covered his face. In the time it took for a spark to fly, aside from a few people, no one could clearly see when Xiao Qin's saber stopped spinning and when he attacked. Ren Kongjue only saw a flash of saber light, and then extinguished it. The insufferably arrogant Ren Kongjue did not even dare to move a single step. He panted heavily, his complexion pale. You don't even have the right to make me draw my blade, and you still dare to be dissatisfied? Xiao Qin's voice was cold, like the god of death. Go back. The lunar shadow saber pressed down and pressed against Ren Kongjue's chest. Ren Kongjue spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. He landed on the ground and rolled a few times before falling off the king's ceremony stage. Kuei-do, Wei-hua, and the other three who were still standing on the platform felt like they were standing on pins and needles. This was especially so when Xiao Qin shifted his gaze to the fore. They were in a dilemma. Who could have thought that Xiao Qin had advanced to the great Grandmaster level martial sage realm? Who could have thought that Ren Kongjue would be defeated in one move, rolling back, beaten until he did not have the slightest temper? Who dared to say that they were dissatisfied? The four's words echoed in their ears. After what happened to Ren Kongjue and Xiao Hoju, how could they dare to say that they were dissatisfied? However, before so many pairs of eyes, they put down their pride and retreated. The four thought about how they had displayed their sharpness before coming here. They had said the words, "I am dissatisfied," very loudly and energetically. Now, they had to run back with their tails between their legs. How unbearable would that be? Who dares to say that they are dissatisfied? White-robed Xiao Qin, with such boldness, no wonder you even dare to kill the people of my astral palace. A cold voice resounded, and starlight filled the sky. A pretty figure walked over from outside the king's ceremony stage. This figure wore long black clothes that looked like night draped over her body. It showed off her charming figure, inspiring wild and fanciful thoughts. A pale white star was embroidered on this figure's clothes. It gave off a cold light and flowed with starlight. This set of clothes had an extraordinary origin. This figure slowly walked over resplendent starlight. As night fell, cold chi assaulted everyone, turning their breath into frost. Soon, this figure arrived at the platform conferring king. She stopped, and the starlight stopped. Then, she introduced herself, Zodiac Hall's Fu Hongyao. Whether you are conferred king or not has nothing to do with me. However, you killed the people of my astral palace. Today, you have to give me an explanation. Who is this person? How come I've never heard of her before? Most people did not recognize Fu Hongyao. However, they vaguely felt that she was extraordinary. This was especially so for the astral robes she wore, which were definitely extraordinary. When Wei Hua and the other three saw that someone had appeared to distract the others, they quickly slipped away, not willing to linger. Fu Hongyao. Unexpectedly, she is here as well. She is the successor of Zodiac Hall's Moon Palace. Zodiac Hall was a huge faction of the Heavenly Starry Ocean. It occupied the southern Heavenly Starry Ocean. With its strength alone, it could contend with a giant like the Northern Sea Alliance. The Zodiac Hall had more than 100 astral palaces under it, some strong and some weak. The Sun Palace and Moon Palace were the two strongest factions. Some people in the primal chaos domain had heard of Fu Hongyao's name. There were still people in the Tianwu Plaza who recognized her. This was a major character of the heavenly starry ocean's younger generation. Fu Hongyao went straight to the point. Did the senior brothers of my Big Dipper Palace die at your hands? There was nothing wrong with admitting it. That group of people wanted to kill him, so he casually killed them. He did not feel any guilt, so Xiaochen admitted it honestly. Fu Hongyao's gaze turned cold. She said coldly, "You are rather straightforward, not showing any fear. However, you still have to die." Right after Fu Hongyao spoke, she clenched the air with her right hand and waved. The dark astral robes she wore turned into a lunar astral banner in her hand. A beam of starlight shot down from the mysterious lunar astral banner in the distant starry sky. After losing his outer clothes, Fu Hongyao's snow-white skin was exposed. She waved the banner pole, and the night-like banner encased Xiao Chun, trying to suck him in. This sudden change caught many people off guard. They all cried out in surprise. Fu Hongyao's move was too unexpected. How could Xiao Chun dodge it? However, even though Fu Hongyao was fast, Xiao Chun was even faster. The instant Fu Hongyao waved the banner pole, Xiao Chun drew the lunar shadow saber with his right hand. Instantly, a boundless saber intent appeared. The saber light was like the sun and the night, scattering. The astral banner in Fu Hongyao's hand flew out of his hand. After sheathing the saber, Xiao Chun waved his right hand and pulled the astral banner over. If I had any fear in my heart, how could I have come to this king conferral ceremony? If you want to take revenge for those people, you alone will only be sufficient for me to draw my saber. I'll help you call a few more people over. Xiezi Xuan, Xingju, Diwuk, how long are the three of you going to keep watching? Are you not even comparable to a woman? Xiao Chen's gaze went past Fu Hongyao and looked at the inheritors of Dongyue Ghost Emperor, Xing Tian, and Emperor Forsaken. Then, he directly challenged them. The moment Xiao Chun said that, everyone was shocked. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun did not care about Fu Hongyao at all. He directly challenged the three most talented, outstanding talents of the same generation. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to fight against these three powerful, outstanding talents alone? When Fu Hongyao saw Xiao Chun stretch out his hand and grab her lunar astral banner, he did not even look at her. Instead, he looked outside, completely ignoring her. She could not help but become enraged. "Lunar astral banner, come back!" Fu Hongyao shouted, and the lunar astral banner turned into black clothes. Then, like a clump of black mist, it left Xiao Chen's hand and flew towards her. A strange look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. However, he did not stop her, letting her take it. He sheathed the lunar shadow saber and stabbed it back into the ground. Then he propped it up with one hand and looked at Diwuk, Xiezi Xuan, and Diwuk. After weighing the pros and cons, Xiao Chen had his own considerations for challenging these three people in one go. After weighing the pros and cons, he would only expose his trump cards one by one, leaving the last person a chance to take advantage of him. Xiao Chen might as well fight all three at once. With his cultivation as a great Grandmaster-level martial sage, rank 4 sage body, vital chi of 5 dragon force, and magic energy that filled his sea of consciousness, he had at least a 50% chance of victory. This King Conferral was a great opportunity for Xiao Chun. If he succeeded, his King Grey True Dragon's luck could turn into an Emperor Grey True Dragon. From then on, his luck would flourish, and no one in the younger generation would be able to compete with him. If he failed, he would not be able to escape this calamity. His luck would fall to rock bottom, and it would be very difficult for him to climb back up. Anyone who tried to stop him from conferring a dragon would be defeated by him. The title of the Blue Dragon belongs to me alone, existing only for me. Since you want to die so much, then I, Xiezi Xuan, will grant you your wish. Xiezi Xuan, who could no longer hold back his killing chi, shouted coldly. He left behind a clump of ghostly fog. Then, the ghostly fog flashed, and Xiezi Xuan appeared on the platform with 8 sabers on his back. Xiao Chen's other movement techniques were unfathomable. This is ghostly shadow steps, the famous martial technique of the Dongyue Ghost Emperor. It requires extremely high talent to practice. Xie Zishuan is not even 30 years old, and he actually managed to practice it. I heard that this movement technique creates a ghostly shadow with each step. Each ghostly shadow is a clone. After reaching great perfection, one can walk 99,000 steps, unfathomable and unending. The moment Xie Zishuan appeared, his strange movement technique attracted everyone's attention. Xiao Chen's gaze turned sullen as he looked at Xiao Chun, not hiding his killing chi at all. Previously, in the 9 layers of purgatory, Xiao Chun had just advanced to Grandmaster level martial sage, and his cultivation was unstable. Due to his carelessness, he got severely injured by Xiao Chen's 20 Dragon Force punch. That incident was still fresh in his mind. Furthermore, this person before Xiao Chun was very close to Ghost Empress Shi Sun's faction. No matter how Xiao Chun looked at it, he absolutely could not let the other party succeed in being conferred king under his nose. I have long heard of the Blue Dragon King's descendant, the White Robe King, Xiao Chun. I, Xingju, will come and test you out as well. The first disciple of the Xingtian Ghost Emperor, Xingju, smiled faintly and took a step forward, landing on the platform. At this moment, only Diwuk did not move. Everyone immediately focused their attention on him, wanting to see the leader of the younger generation. How would Xiao Chun react after being looked down on by Xiao Chun? At this moment, Diwuk felt very complicated. The person who was once like an ant to him actually dared to challenge him before everyone. Furthermore, Xiao Chun did not challenge Xiao Chun alone. He even added Xie Zishuan and Xingju to the challenge. I'll go with you, Tian Yushi, who was at the side, said softly. When Diwuk heard that, he felt stunned. Then, he waved his hand and said, there's no need. If he challenges us one by one, he might survive. If he challenges us all together, he will not stand a chance at all. Boom! Diwuk stood up, and the image of a deity's nation appeared behind him. Thousands of praises rang out. Diwuk did not land on the ground. Instead, he stood on the divine kingdom and flew to the platform, looking down at Xiao Chun from above. Diwuk is making a move as well. 3 powerful geniuses and Zodiac Hall's Fu Hong Shue. This is going to be a good show. From the start of the king conferral ceremony until now, there had been many twists and turns. After one wave came another. Originally, Xiao Chun thought that Xiao Chun, who came in a hurry, would embarrass himself greatly in front of everyone's congratulations. Who knew? He would snatch away Xiao Hoju's limelight from the start. Chapter 1000. The people at the back were not convinced. The descendants of several sovereign martial emperors went up the platform together, trying to force Xiao Chun to give up on the Blue Dragon King title. However, Xiao Chun attacked in a rage, displaying the aura of a great Grandmaster-level martial sage. With one strike, he left Xiao Hoju in the dust. The story should have ended here. However, Xiao Chun challenged 3 powerful, outstanding talents again. The atmosphere instantly reached a climax. Normally, it was rare for Xie Zishuan and the others to gather together. It was impossible for them to deal with someone of the same generation at the same time. Today, such an impossible scene had appeared on the king's ceremony platform. Xiao Chen's chances of victory were pitifully small. However, no one dared to say that Xiao Chun would definitely lose. If this person, who had created many miracles along the way, won today, he would surpass the young Qing emperor. Don't fight with me. I can deal with this brat alone. He is just a great Grandmaster-level martial sage. I do not care about him at all. To think that he dares to say that he is not convinced. Today I am not convinced. Xie Zishuan smiled coldly and took the initiative to charge over. He was proud and arrogant. When he saw Xiao Chun reveal his cultivation, he completely revealed his trump card. He felt that Xiao Chun was only SOSO and that he could fight alone. The others were happy to let him do as he pleased. However, if they found an opportunity, they would definitely make a move to kill Xiao Chun. Bang! 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 The 8 sabers on Xie Zishuan's back unsheathed. He took 8 steps, creating a ghostly image with each step and a clone with each step. Eventually, his movements became unpredictable. It was hard to tell which was the real one. The 8 ghostly image clones each used a different saber technique. However, they were all connected to each other, giving off ghostly howls. A new world seemed to appear on the platform. It was like a ghostly deity was descending. Black chi surged out, and the might of a ghostly deity spread out. Ghostly howls resounded, and black light shone everywhere, shocking everyone. Up in the sky, Diwuk, who stood on the divine kingdom image, frowned slightly. The Avicii saber technique already reached small perfection. No wonder he is so confident. The moment this saber technique appeared, not only did Diwuk's expression change, but it also shocked the invited cultivators. The Avicii saber technique was an inherited martial technique of the ghost race. It was all-encompassing. Even the famous ghostly shadow steps was just a branch of it. Xiaochen already knew that Xie Zishuan practiced the Avicii saber technique, so his expression did not change. He grasped his saber hilt with his right hand and carefully stared at the 8 clones. However, he did not pay much attention to the Avicii hell that Xie Zishuan was about to summon out. As the black chi spread throughout the platform, death chi poured out endlessly. Xie Zishuan's 8 ghostly image clones already looked solid. They looked like they were about to seal Xiao Chun and kill him on the spot. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chun squinted and fixed his gaze on one of the clones. Then, he quickly drew the lunar shadow saber with his right hand and turned into a purple saber light flashing out. Thunder roared, and the saber might gathered. Dang! Xiaochen knocked away the saber in that clone's hand. Saber lights flashed continuously, and purple electric light crackled and blossomed. In 3 breaths, thousands of afterimages of saber lights appeared in the air. Xiaochen's speed was simply too fast. That clone could not react in time and was struck by the saber. He vomited blood and went flying back. The other 7 clones that rushed over to help shattered one after another. They turned into beams of black light and returned to Xie Zishuan's body. The Avicii hell, which was about to take shape, shattered. The death chi turned into countless clumps of light. That's impossible. How did you discover my true body? Xie Zishuan vomited a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with disbelief. The difference in mental energy was too great. As long as there was a slight difference, Xiaochen's spiritual sense could easily distinguish the real from the fake. This was not difficult for Xiaochen. However, Xie Zishuan had a confident expression on his face. How could he not lose? Naturally, Xiaochen would not explain this to Xie Zishuan. Spring thunder roared, and everything revived. Xiaochen turned around and chopped with his saber. Peach blossoms bloomed for 50 kilometers around, filling the air with the fragrance of flowers and falling leaves. This saber strike contained boundless life force, sweeping away the death chi on the platform as it headed for Xie Zishuan. However, just as the saber light was about to strike Xie Zishuan, a beam of starlight bloomed. Fu Hongyao charged over holding the lunar banner. Xingju opened his hand, and a huge axe appeared in it. The huge axe spun around his fingers like the wind, looking incredibly berserk. When the tip of the axe reached its peak, Xingju leaped up and chopped down at Xiaochen's head. The voice of the divine kingdom image rang out. Diwuk had a solemn expression as he formed hand seals with both hands. The Tenjin Emperor's world eliminating imprint opened the first heaven, second heaven, third heaven, all the way to the 99 heavens. The Tenjin Emperor stood upright like a mountain. As he shouted, he formed the world-eliminating imprint and smashed it at Xiaochen. Although Xie Zishuan wanted to fight Xiaochen alone and did not allow others to interfere, Xiaochen was very cautious. However, Xiaochen was very cautious. How could he really not pay attention to those 3? The moment the 3 launched their attacks, Xiaochen sensed them. He sheathed his saber and retreated, dodging the strike of Fu Hongyao's lunar astral banner that carried a boundless cold light. The moment Xiaochen retreated, a 1,000-meter-tall icicle with overwhelming cold chi soared up from the ground where he had been standing. If Xiaochen had been too slow, this extremely cold astral energy from the lunar astral banner would have frozen his soul into ice shards. Xiao Chun had just dodged when Xing Ju's huge axe descended from above. There was no space or time to dodge. Since Xiao Chun could not retreat or scatter, he would break it with force. His body merged with his saber, and his long hair spread out. Xiao Chun circulated all the law energy in his body. Rings of bright purple light appear behind him, reaching the horrifying level of 10,000 rings. When Xiao Chun waved his saber, he sent out a long beam of purple electric light. The electric light looked like a dragon as it carved itself deep in the air. Tom seemed to freeze at this moment. Thousands of years later, this scene would probably be remembered by everyone, never to be extinguished. Xing Ju looked down from above, preparing to unleash his peak strike. When the huge axe descended, it seemed like it could shatter space and shatter the sky. Xiao Chun was at an innate disadvantage on the ground. Instead of thinking of defending, he wanted to use force to break. Clashing head-on with force was simply seeking death. The saber and the axe clashed in that instant. Dang! Xing Ju, who was charging over with a ferocious momentum, got knocked back by Xiao Chen's saber strike that was launched later. A loud sound echoed in the sky. The platform made of solid rock completely shattered. Countless boulders soared into the air behind Xiao Chun. After sending Xing Ju flying with one saber strike, Xiao Chun did not relax at all. He roared ferociously and burned his magic energy, executing the dragon tone art. An incredibly huge dragon had peeked out from the clouds and roared as Xiao Chun roared. This was the roar of a true dragon, containing the might of a true dragon. The world-eliminating imprint that Di Wuk formed shattered layer by layer. Xiao Chun shattered the Zhu Tenjin Emperor's image again. While Di Wuk had improved, Xiao Chun did not remain stagnant, either. He was now a peak Yuanying. His magic energy filled his sea of consciousness, becoming much denser. Xiao Chun dodged Fu Hongyao's attack, knocked back Xing Ju, and broke Di Wuk's Zhu Tenjin Emperor's world-eliminating imprint with one roar. All this happened in the time it took for a spark to fly, so fast that no one could clearly see what happened. Xiao Chun broke the three's combined attacks one by one. Huge boulders flew everywhere. Dragon might spread out, divine light shone, and starlight covered the platform. Xiao Chun ran quickly, charging towards Xie Zishuan. A white figure held the cold lunar shadow saber in his hand. Xiao Chun had a grave and stern expression as he nimbly weaved through the huge boulders. Ding, ding, dang. The wind blew Xiao Chen's hair, and the sound of countless sabers rang out. A boundless saber intent spread out, lingering for a long time. This startled Xie Zishuan, who had just gotten up. At first, he thought that he saw a true dragon charging at him. By the time Xie Zishuan reacted, Xiao Chun had already arrived before him. He swung his saber, and 50 kilometers of peach blossoms appeared. The petals were like sabers, dancing endlessly. When Xiao Chun chopped down, 10,000 flowers bloomed. Spring thunder rang out endlessly, and life force was inextinguishable. This firmly suppressed Xie Ziwen's death chi. In an instant, the two exchanged more than 1,000 saber strikes. They were so fast that it was dazzling. Figures soared through the flower petals, sending out saber chi everywhere. After 100 moves, 10 saber wounds appeared on Xiao Chen's body. Black chi lingered around the wounds, so deep that bones could be seen. Blood flowed everywhere. However, saber wounds covered Xie Zishuan's body. Blood flowed endlessly from his vital areas. Xie Zishuan paled as he looked at Xiao Chun with some horror. He said in a trembling voice, You are really ruthless." The spectators all felt fear in their hearts. They broke out in a cold sweat. Even at the risk of being struck, Xiao Chun could not stop. "If you attack me once, I will attack you 10 times. Hence, Xie Zishuan suffered 100 saber strikes, and Xiao Chun suffered 10. Xiao Chun watched as Xie Zishuan fell and ignored him. "If I am not ruthless, how can I make you lose your combat prowess in such a short time?" 1. Xiao Chun counted in his heart. Then, his figure flashed, and he dodged Fu Hongyao's attack again. Hundreds of 1-kilometer-long icicles covered the dilapidated platform. These were the attacks that Fu Hongyao launched at Xiao Chun when he fought Xie Zishuan. However, Xiao Chun dodged all of them. If not for Fu Hongyao's harassment, Xiao Chun would have at least half of the saber wounds on his body. While Xiao Chun and Xie Zishuan clashed, Di Wuk and Xing Ju did not take the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Xing Ju moved his fingers, and the 1-meter-long axe moved nimbly on his fingertips. As the huge axe moved, wind blew at him from all directions. At first, the wind was formless and colorless. However, something strange slowly appeared in the wind, turning it into a black wind of death filled with ghostly wails. Di Wuk closed his eyes and sat on the image of the divine kingdom. Praises turned into holy light soaring into the sky. Every strand of Xiao Chen's hair looked crystalline. His handsome face looked holy and perfect. Bang! A cold light flashed, and a cold wind blew. The starlight was dazzling. Without needing to guess, Xiao Chen knew that this was Fu Hongyao's killing move flying over. Xiao Chun saw the astral banner spread out. It was as dark as night, like the vast night sky as it flew over silently. A dazzling cold light appeared in the night sky. This was the ancient lunar star. Xiao Chen's gaze sank. This woman is really relentless. He casually stabbed the lunar shadow saber into the ground and formed hand seals with both hands. A chessboard of fate appeared above his head. Space and time crisscrossed, and stars dotted the space. The trajectory of every star was arranged by the heavenly Tao. If the chessboard was moved, it would cause chaos and fate, forming a starry heaven storm. Xiao Chun moved 10 stars, forming an intense black storm that clashed with the night sky, formed by the astral banner. Chapter 1001. The night sky stirred, and the stars shattered. Then, the lunar star and the banner exploded. When his life magic treasure shattered, Fu Hongyao vomited a mouthful of blood. His complexion turned incredibly pale, making him look very pitiful. Bang! A figure of light appeared in the dark, starry heavens. Xiao Chun punched this lovable face, sending Fu Hongyao flying out of the platform and falling to the ground. Fu Hongyao covered his face with one hand, feeling very embarrassed. This was the first time he had met such a ruthless man. He clenched his teeth and said, "We will meet again. Xiao Chun, don't let me run into you again." 2. Xiao Chun thought to himself. Then he flipped his hand, and the lunar shadow saber appeared in his hand again. Xiao Chun ignored the other party and charged at Xing Ju, who was closest. Black wind blew, and ghostly cries rang out. The huge axe continued to dance around Xing Ju's fingers. When Xing Ju saw Xiao Chun charging over, he laughed boldly and said, "Good timing. Let's see who will send who flying this time." The huge axe suddenly stopped dancing. Xiao Chun grasped it firmly with one hand. The storm that had been accumulating for a long time covered Xing Ju's entire body like a storm battle armor. The peach blossoms bloomed, the summer sun rose, the autumn wind blew, and the winter snow drifted. Flawless 4 seasons, growing and multiplying endlessly. As Xiao Chun ran, mysterious phenomena appeared around him. By the time he met Xing Ju, the 4 seasons Tao had completely materialized. When he swung his saber, it grew and multiplied endlessly. Bang! A deafening sound rang out as the entire king's ceremony platform shattered into pieces. Xing Ju's black storm battle armor shattered. Then, Xiao Chen's aura knocked him high into the air. Xiao Chen's momentum did not decrease. He soared into the air, taking advantage of Xing Ju's falling aura to launch a frenzied attack. The two in the air seemed to move in slow motion. Every move they made was clear to everyone. This was the most berserk way of fighting, relying on absolute strength to exchange moves with moves. In less than 10 moves, he'd struck space to the point it shook like waves, and it formed numerous spatial storms that whistled to and fro. This startled everyone who saw it. If a regular martial sage was swept by this spatial storm, they would die instantly. Thud! With another move, the huge axe in Xing Tian's hand flew away. Then, Xiao Chun swung the back of his saber and sent Xing Tian's stout body flying like a sandbag. 3. Just as he finished chanting in his heart, Di Wuk, who was on the Divine Kingdom, suddenly opened his eyes. The Divine Kingdom under his feet solidified, bringing with it a boundless godly light as it pressed down, ready to crush Xiao Chun with a single blow. Loud rumbling sounds rang out continuously. The solidified image of the Divine Kingdom covered the entire king's conferral platform and pressed down like lightning. When the Divine Kingdom descended, Xiao Chun looked extremely small. The entire Tianwu Plaza trembled violently. However, Xiao Chun paid a huge price for this attack. After the Divine Kingdom descended, the entire Divine Kingdom vanished. Even the image no longer existed, unable to be summoned. Di Wuk hovered in the air, radiating a dazzling light as his white hair fluttered in the wind. As Xiao Chun looked at the ruined platform, he smiled coldly to himself. This meticulously prepared attack prevented him from summoning the Divine Kingdom for 3 years. This primordial treasure. Even the blue-robed emperor was severely injured. What more a great grandmaster-level martial sage? Even if Xiao Chun did not die, he would be crippled. Sorry, I was too heavy-handed and accidentally destroyed this Bushin Palace's king's conferral platform. Di Wuk performed a cupped fist salute and said indifferently to the elders in the distance, "It is time for the king conferral ceremony to end." It ended just like that. The cultivators present all felt dissatisfied. They had seen Xiao Chun defeat 3 people in a row and thought that victory was in sight. However, Di Wuk's lightning-quick strike extinguished the hope that had just rekindled. The Divine Kingdom was a primordial emperor treasure. It was a supreme existence with a long inheritance. Few in the world could rival it. Di Wuk drained his mental energy and paid the price of not being able to summon the image of the emperor treasure for 3 years. When Xiao Chun materialized the image of the Divine Kingdom and executed a peak strike, even the blue-robed emperor would be severely injured. However, that was only in theory. In a real battle, the blue-robed emperor would definitely not give Di Wuk that much time to prepare. It was only because Xiao Chun was delayed by Xie Zishuan, Fu Hongyao, and Xingju that gave Di Wuk the opportunity to make his move. Otherwise, in a one-on-one fight, victory would be hard to determine. Is it over? The black-clad old man hosting the ceremony held the Blue Dragon King's insignia in his hand and muttered, "This price is rather high." The king conferral platform had turned into rubble. Xiao Chun had stripped the insignia of Xiao Hoju, whom the 3 holy lord had placed their hopes on, and tossed it somewhere. For the sake of preventing a certain name from appearing, the price was rather high. Di Wuk's final strike was too exaggerated. Xiao Chun's loss was not unjustified. While it was unjustified, it was too unfortunate. Xiao Chun's path was arduous, and he fought many battles. Many outstanding talents and various experts fell to his saber. However, he lost at the final hurdle. This makes one sigh. In the end, a miracle is impossible. Xiao Chun bore the brunt of this attack. I believe that with his strong physical body, he will not die. However, he definitely does not have any combat prowess left. Whispers resounded. At the final step, Xiao Chun fell at Di Wuk's feet. Everyone felt that this was unexpected, but also reasonable. In the VIP stands, Shui Lingling quietly wiped away the tears at the corners of her eyes. The path to king conferral was filled with obstacles, resulting in such an ending. Even if Xiao Chun managed to survive, his heart would be dead. The Azura races Lan Xiaobai opened his mouth, feeling strange. He wanted to say something, but did not say anything in the end. Some of the people who were on good terms with Xiao Chun showed sorrowful expressions, sighing endlessly. Ha ha! Unexpectedly, I rushed back after so much difficulty and saw this scene. In the end, I, Xiao Hoju, will have the last laugh at the king conferral ceremony. A disheveled figure quickly descended from the air. This was the Xiao Hoju that Xiao Chun had tossed out for hundreds of kilometers. Xiao Hoju ignored his injuries and rushed back in a hurry, not even bothering to change his clothes. However, the instant he returned, he happened to see Shao Chun being suppressed by the divine kingdom. He immediately rejoiced. Sometimes happiness came so easily. The black-clad old man was also overjoyed. He quickly took out the White Tiger King's insignia and headed for the rubble. Just at this moment, a tiny strand of golden light shot out from the boundless rubble on the King Conferral platform. In the next moment, beams of golden light blossomed like bamboo shoots after the rain. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of beams of golden light soared into the sky, dazzling everyone's eyes. No one dared to look at them directly. Xiao Hoju showed a shocked expression. "What's going on?" The expression of Di Wuk, who was preparing to leave, changed slightly. Confusion appeared in his eyes as he stopped in the air. Boom! Golden statues burst out from the rubble, emitting a brilliant glow. The statues all had different appearances and weapons. The only similarity was the king's might that flowed from their bodies. The might of hundreds of statues overlapped, inspiring fear in one's heart. That scared me. So, it is just a group of king statues. Upon seeing the situation, Xiao Hoju heaved a clear sigh of relief. He thought that Shao Chun had come out again. That's not right. Di Wuk's expression changed drastically. He saw Shao Chun standing among the hundreds of statues with his eyes closed. His entire body shone with golden light as his injuries slowly recovered. Shao Chun had already taken off the Neptune headscarf on his forehead. He now gave off a boundless king's might, even stronger than the hundreds of king statues around him. The Blue Dragon King, the King of Kings. The little blue dragon in Shao Chun's dantian roared ferociously. Dragon might and holy might gathered into a supreme king's might. Under the pressure of this king's might, the many golden statues prostrated themselves, forming a golden path in the air, forming a king's road. Xiao Hoju's expression changed dramatically. Shock filled his eyes as he thought quickly. Right now, Shao Chun was just an empty shell. The scene of Di Wuk injuring him was definitely not an illusion. Even the blue-robed emperor would not be able to put up a fight. Although Shao Chun was severely injured and did not have time to recover on the way here, he should still be able to deal with this fellow who was putting on a false front. At this thought, a ruthless look flashed in Xiao Hoju's eyes. He laughed loudly. What a great Shao Chun! At the crucial moment, you actually completely awakened the dragon might of the blue dragon martial spirit. Unfortunately, the one to be conferred king today is me, Xiao Hoju. Shao Chen's figure flashed, and a boundless aura appeared. A strong wind that was taller than the sky, wider than the ground, fiercer than the river, vaster than the sea gathered behind him. In the blink of an eye, Shao Chen arrived before Shao Chun. Then, he quickly pointed at Shao Chen's forehead. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Shao Chun raised his right hand and instantly grabbed Xiao Hoju's wrist. Boom! A bolt of divine thunder roared. What kind of thunder was this? Just the sound alone made the entire Tianwu city shake like there was an earthquake. Buildings collapsed. The eardrums of the low-ranked cultivators shattered, and they fainted on the spot. A strand of electric light tore through space. A great rock made of lightning appeared in the sky together with the divine thunder. The great rock spread its wings, and a strong wind blew. The Bushin Palace, which was hidden in the clouds, seemed to move. This is the will of thunder of the Thunder King, sang Mu. How could Shao Chun execute it? Everyone was startled. Their complexions paled as they trembled before this thunder rock, their eyes filled with confusion. Why did Shao Chun execute the manifestation of the Thunder King's will? Hey, Ao Jiao, there is no need for you to cause such a huge commotion, right? Hee. I just woke up and am not familiar with my own strength yet. However, after not seeing you for a long time, there are many more strange things in your body. Please, I was forced to let it occupy my body. Can you stop looking around? All right. Just focus on recuperating. Leave the rest to me. Hey, I was so focused on talking to you that I nearly forgot that I am still dragging someone with me. I'll toss him away first. Whoosh! On the Sovereign's Road, paved with golden statues, Shao Chun casually flung out Xiao Hoju, who was already charred by the lightning, and turned into a meteor flying far away. No one knew where he went or where he landed. Xiao Chun did not even look at this person. Then he shifted his gaze to the exhausted Diwuk. His lips curled up in a mischievous smile that only Ao Jiao had. Diwuk felt a chill. He vaguely felt that something was wrong with Xiao Chun, like something had changed. However, he could not tell what was wrong. However, when Diwuk saw the strange smile on Xiao Chen's face, he knew that he had to leave. Xiao Chen's mental energy was drained, and he was in a weakened state. He was no match for Xiao Chen now. Chapter 1002. A light flashed, and Diwuk quickly flew towards Tian Yushi. When Tian Yushi saw Xiao Chun place his hand on his saber hilt, his expression changed slightly. He shouted, "Keepers of light, protect the prince." Bang! 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 Beams of light quickly shot out from behind Tian Yushi. The 13 keepers quickly arrived behind Diwuk and drew their weapons. They all gave off a bright divine light and merged into one, summoning out an illusory deity's nation to help Diwuk block the space behind him. The deity's nation had just formed when Xiao Chun, who was on the sovereign's road, drew his saber. The lightning bird in the sky quickly landed on the saber. Then, a saber light made of electricity swept through the air. The divine kingdom turned into an illusion in that instant. The light formed by the 13 keepers quickly shattered and shattered. The saber light knocked them back and made them vomit blood. The saber light did not lose any momentum, chopping down on Diwuk's back and chopping him in half at the waist. Tian Yushi sent out a gentle and holy white light and reconnected the two halves of Diwuk's body. Then, he carried him and quickly left. Painful wails came out from Diwu's gap continuously. That voice was heart-wrenching, filled with endless regret and pain. Xiao Chun, don't think that this will end after you are conferred king. Just you wait. When I forge my deity statue and absorb the power of faith from the 900 deity realms, I will return today's injuries to you 100-fold. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber, and the world turned quiet. Then, he walked forward step by step on the king's road. Bang! The statues under Xiao Chen's feet shattered one by one, turning into ashes that spread out in the air. It was like they were demonstrating the people that Xiao Chun had killed and defeated on this road. Those who defeated me were defeated by me. Those who wanted to be defeated, no one could escape. When the last step was completed, all the statues had been shattered. Golden dust pervaded the air behind Xiao Chun. It was colorful and beautiful. Dust billowed, as if a new statue was being formed. The blue dragon emblem in the black-clad old man's box trembled. He desperately tried to suppress the box, but to no avail. The medallion flew towards Xiao Chen's chest. With a flash of azure light, it entered Xiao Chen's white clothes. The white robes started to change. Soon, they turned into magnificent azure battle armor. The dragon insignia on the chest was very eye-catching. I want to be conferred the title of king. Is there anyone else who is unconvinced? Who would dare to be unconvinced? Even Diwuk had been cut in half. Wouldn't they be courting death if they went up? No one responded for a long time. Then, the golden dust filling the air took form. A golden statue of Xiao Chun stood on the dilapidated king conferral platform. Indomitable spirit, awe-inspiring might. Hundreds of golden statues had been reforged. These statues were 1 kilometer tall, and the might of a supreme king spread out in all directions. The statue had a stern expression. A lunar shadow, saber hung at its waist as it stared at the sky. Many golden dragon images swam around the statue, adding to the strange scene. The blue dragon king really succeeded in being conferred king. The dreamlike statue of a king was chopped in half. The fleeing Diwuk was in a sorry state. The Xiaohoju was tossed into the air again. The Zodiac Hall's Fu Honyao was beaten until he covered his face. The Xiaohoju was beaten hundreds of times. The Xingju defeated his opponent with brute force. I want to be conferred king. No one dares to object. This person cannot be conferred king. Suddenly, an ethereal voice rang out. A huge hand transcended time and space, grabbing at Tianwu City from the distant deity domain. The golden hand was intertwined with countless divine runes. Everywhere it passed, flowers fell from the sky. Rainbow-colored sacred flowers fell from the sky like rain. It crossed billions of kilometers from the distant deity domain all the way to the Tianwu domain's central province's Tianwu City. Then it grabbed at Xiao Chun ruthlessly. Xiao Qin's words were like the truth, reverberating in the world. Countless holy sounds echoed and reinforced it. Emperor forsaken. The expressions of everyone present changed drastically. Aside from Emperor forsaken, there was no one else in the deity race who possessed such strength and could bring out such a scene. Xiao Qin's attack was very sudden, so fast that no one could think. As the huge hand stretched out, under the boundless emperor's might, everyone in the plaza became extremely insignificant. This scene was very similar to the sea of bitterness behind the bridge of helplessness in the 9 layers of purgatory. It looked like Xiao Chan would be squashed to death by this huge hand like an ant. A bolt of divine lightning roared, and a strand of electric light illuminated the sky. Then it chopped down like a berserk saber, directly chopping off this huge hand. However, the huge hand did not immediately scatter. It paused for a moment before continuing to grab at Xiao Chun. "Take out the blue dragon medallion," Xiao Chun quickly ordered in his heart. Ao Jiao did not say anything else. She controlled Xiao Qin's body and ejected the blue dragon medallion. The blue dragon medallion hovered above Xiao Qin's head, and his body recovered to normal. Then, he leaped into the air and dodged the divine hand strike. Without the blue dragon medallion to help him block the might of the huge hand, no matter how high he jumped or how far he jumped, he would still be squashed to death like an ant. Di Qiqian, are you trying to start a war between the two races? A ferocious roar came from Bushin Palace. The broken hand that Emperor Forsaken left behind crumbled and vanished. In an instant, the setting sun was like blood, and the broken hand turned into light particles. It was like many divine kingdoms collapsed. Angels fell one after another. Countless life forms and deity race cultivators died at this moment. Everyone in the square returned to normal. They were all panting, and their eyes were filled with fear. Emperor Forsaken. This was the strength of the 5 strongest experts of the Kunlun continent. Even from millions of kilometers away, he could kill people like they were ants. Xiao Qin looked at the disappearing motes of light in the air and entered deep thought. This was the scene that he had been longing for. If he watched carefully, his dusk of deities would definitely rise to another level in the future. In the distant deity domain, Emperor Forsaken, who sat on his divine throne, sighed. His earlier strike had burned the lives of 3 million believers of the deity race in the lower realms. This was very different from an ordinary strike. Originally, Emperor Forsaken thought that he could deceive the Thunder King and kill Xiao Chun. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun had a treasure that could block the Emperor's might of a sovereign personage. However, no matter how overwhelming your luck is, you will not be able to be conferred king today. Dressed in divine robes, Emperor Forsaken looked like he was wearing the moon and the stars. Then, his gaze sank, and a will clone formed from nowhere. Then, he brought the divine kingdom to Tianwu City. Emperor Forsaken had rushed over with a will clone because of time constraints. If he used his true body, even if he traveled through a space-time tunnel, he would need half a day to cross such a long distance. Unless he continued burning the lives of his believers in the lower realms, he had to be careful. Descending with his true body before the eyes of the Bushin Palace was not a good idea, no matter how he looked at it. In the sky above Tianwu City, Emperor Forsaken's will clone had a hazy white light around it, preventing others from seeing his appearance. Thunder King, the one who started the war, is you, not me. This person absolutely cannot be conferred king. Emperor Forsaken said sullenly as he looked at the clouds, at the Bushin Palace, which seemed to drift between reality and illusion. If you say so, then I won't be conferred king. Do you really think that I'm about to die? A thunderous roar came from the Bushin Palace. The voice was like thunder, shattering the divine light, drifting in the surroundings. What if I join? A ghostly fog appeared in the sky. A skinny, pale-skinned, middle-aged man in white descended steadily from the sky. Me too. A burly man wearing black battle armor walked over from the horizon, carrying a huge axe. Dongyue, Ghost Emperor. Xingtian, another will clone of a major character, had arrived. The situation was no longer at a level that Xiao Chun could interfere with. Leaving his fate to fate was not a good feeling. Ao Jiao, do you think I can reach the level of these people one day? Nothing in the world is impossible. The path to being conferred king has just begun. One day, not only will you reach the level of these people, but you will even surpass them, treating them like ants. Several major characters arrived at Tianwu City, discussing his life and death. However, Xiao Chun, dressed in azure, stood on the rubble of the platform, looking at the sky with an indifferent expression. Ao Jiao was right. The path to being conferred king was not the end, but just the beginning. Emperor Forsaken, Xingtian, Dongyue, Ghost Emperor, with just a few words, you want to decide my life and death. One day, I will decide the life and death of the three of you. Even if you are the strongest experts of this world, you will not be an exception. Three powerful experts worked together to force Xiao Chun to not be conferred king. He had already brought the conflict in the dark and his fear of a certain name to the surface. Although the Thunder King was strong, having been in the same generation as the Qing Emperor 10,000 years ago, his cultivation had already reached the limits of a sovereign martial emperor. He could be called a prime, a cultivation that ordinary cultivators could not imagine. However, when facing three powerful experts who were also primes, Xiao Chun felt even more pressure. This was especially so for Emperor Forsaken, someone who could absorb the faith of the masses. It was hard to avoid the pressure. The three of you are really awe-inspiring. To think that you are so afraid of the Qing Emperor, making things difficult for a child. Are you not afraid of the world laughing at you? Clear laughter resounded. A handsome and elegant man walked out from behind the Bushan Palace. Some fiend race cultivators immediately recognized him. This was the Fox King, the strongest expert of the fiend domain, one of the 5 strongest experts of the Kunlun continent. He was also a powerful, sovereign martial emperor. This was a major matter. Unexpectedly, the 5 strongest experts of the Kunlun realm all appeared, all for one person's king conferral ceremony. The appearance of the Fox King undoubtedly reduced the pressure on the Thunder King. Right now, both sides were at a stalemate. No one could do anything to the other. Emperor Forsaken frowned. Clearly, he had not expected the Fox King to appear at the last moment. The Fox King, it is useless even if you come. No matter what, you cannot be conferred king today. I absolutely will not allow a second Qing Emperor to appear. Right after the Fox King spoke, the Dongyue Ghost Emperor and the Xingtian both took a step forward. Based on their stance, it looked like they wanted to take him away forcefully. Humph. In that case, go ahead and try. I do not mind letting everyone die before the demonic calamity arrives. The thunderous rumble resounded once again. The Thunder Sovereign's voice shook the heavens. The lightning that descended tore several pitch-black cracks in space, looking extremely frightening. Chapter 1003. The Thunder King's strength was unexpected, and it made Emperor Forsaken feel a little suffocated. What are the three of us afraid of? I don't believe that his real body is here. I don't believe that the 3 holy masters will choose to fight with us. He's just an old man. Let's see what you're afraid of. Xingtian was extremely disdainful. He said coldly, let's fight. We have an 80% chance of winning. Although he was about to attack, he did not show any signs of doing so. In the end, this was just a negotiation tactic. He was still a little cautious. Even if he did not kill Xiao Chun, he would force Xiao Chun to remove his title as the Blue Dragon King. Why don't you try? As the words left his mouth, the atmosphere in the Sky Marshal Plaza clearly changed. There were already people who began to quietly slip away, afraid that there would really be a great battle. If the shockwaves swept over them, then it would be too much. Just as the atmosphere was so tense that it made everyone feel thirsty up in the sky. a sun descended and materialized the might of a supreme Haotian emperor. A will clone that was no weaker than the 5 powerful, sovereign, martial emperors appeared. With a cold smile on his face, he slowly descended along with the sun. What's going on? Why is there another expert no weaker than 5 powerful, sovereign martial emperors in the Kunlun continent? The appearance of this person instantly caused a huge commotion. The appearance of this person broke not only the balance of this place, but also the balance of the various factions of the Kunlun continent. The will clones that suddenly appeared displayed a prime emperor might that was not any weaker than the 5 experts, surprising Xiao Qin. The newcomer gave Xiao Qian a sense of familiarity, especially the mysterious phenomenon of the supreme sky, might under the sun. Could it be the sect master? Xiao Qin asked uncertainly. There was another word in front of Hao Ian, which was Taishang. Taishang Hao Ian meant supreme. Many years ago, the Hao Ian sect had its own glory days. The founder of the sect had left behind the supreme Hao Ian scripture, which allowed martial artists to transform into the heavenly Tao and enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Because it was too ethereal, after the ancestor, no one else succeeded in cultivating it. Fortunately, the ancestor had lived his entire life and was invincible. He left behind countless scriptures and martial skills, all of which were extremely precious existences. As such, even though no one managed to successfully cultivate the highest Haotian scripture, the sect did not decline. It had always been one of the top 9 ranks of the great families, and it had been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Now, the luck of the Holy Land was boundless, and elites emerged in large numbers. It looked like it would surpass the Holy Lands and become a king sect. All Xiao Qian lacked were sovereign martial emperors and king spirit veins. If this person in the sky was really the Ying Zongtian who cultivated the supreme Haotian scripture and became a sovereign martial emperor, then the Ying Zongtian in the sky would be a sovereign martial emperor. The Tianwu domain was really going to change. The entire Kunlun continent would change because of this. 2 prime sovereign martial emperors might even be able to compete with the deity race, which was known as the 3,000 deities. As the person descended, his appearance became clearer. It seemed like there was a clump of white fog blocking his view. However, that silhouette and back view were clearly that of the Haotian emperor that Xiao Qian was familiar with. Hey, that sect master of yours really was conferred king. He actually gained the strength of a prime after advancing to sovereign martial emperor. He is really patient. Ao Jiao's voice rang out in Xiao Qian's heart, confirming Xiao Qian's guess. Xiao Qian felt excited. What's wrong? Have you met him before? I definitely have. Otherwise, I would not have gotten you to agree to the Haotian sect's invitation back then. He is no weaker than the Thunder King back then. Back then, when Sang Mu was conferred king, he immediately gained the strength of a prime. However, the one he challenged was the Thunder King, so he lost in one move. Xiao Qian could not help feeling somewhat envious. This was a true conferred king. He was still far from it. However, as long as he could maintain his title as the Blue Dragon King today, he would gather supreme luck and an Emperor True Dragon. Sooner or later, he would be able to reach this step. Ying Zongtian, the Xingtian Emperor, was slightly astonished. The Dongyue Ghost Emperor and Emperor Forsaken also felt incredulous. Ying Zongtian had not been conferred king for 1,000 years. Now that he was conferred king, he became a prime. What kind of outstanding person was he exactly? Such a prime might not be able to compete with veteran primes like them in the short term, but he definitely had the strength to put up a fight. With the addition of Ying Zongtian, as well as the Thunder King and the Fox King, it was almost impossible for them to touch Xiao Qian. They had no advantage at all. Deity sovereign, let's just forget about this matter. You and I both know that this demonic god calamity is extraordinary. Internal strife is not worth it. Just at this moment, 2 figures walked out from behind Ying Zongtian. The saber sovereign, Wu Xiaotian, held the coiling monarch time saber. The sword sovereign, Lu Xiaoyun, held the scarlet firmament void sword. The 2 of them stood behind Ying Zongtian, one on the left and one on the right, clearly expressing their stance. Although the saber-sword two sovereigns were stronger than regular sovereign martial emperors, they were still a distance away from primes. However, when the two of them worked together, even primes had to avoid them. Hence, the situation in the sky turned around. Not only did Emperor Forsaken not hold the advantage, but he was also at an extreme disadvantage. If they really fought, Shao Chun would not have any chance of victory. Nearly all the strongest experts of the Kunlun continent gathered in the turbulent Tianwu city. Who could have expected that a human's king conferral ceremony would affect the entire Kunlun realm, nearly causing a huge change? Of all the past conferred kings, only Shao Chun could create such a grand occasion. Why are you still not scramming? Don't you feel embarrassed standing here? Of all the primes, only the three of you dare to suppress a junior. A thunderous voice shook the sky. The Thunder King's voice, filled with disdain, resounded once more. Humph! Thunder King, let's see how long you can live. Let's see how long you can protect this brat. Emperor Forsaken's voice was filled with rage. With the rise of a second Qing emperor, his deity race's plan to unify the Kunlun realm would be delayed for a long time. Ha ha ha! Brat Shi Tian, when I was conferred king, your grandfather was not even born yet. How dare you say this to me? You can forget about leaving today. The Thunder King's loud laughter came from Bushin Palace. His laughter sounded like 10,000 peals of thunder. Cracks immediately appeared in the sky, like a waterfall. A scarlet lightning hammer flickering with countless heavenly phoenix talisman scripts flew towards Emperor Forsaken's will clone in the sky. Phoenix blood thunder, divine hammer. Emperor Forsaken's expression changed slightly. He quickly tried to use the divine kingdom image under his feet. However, he suddenly discovered that the divine kingdom image no longer listened to him. When Shao Chun saw the vast and ethereal Bushin Palace, he suddenly realized that the Bushin Palace before him was a primordial secret treasure in itself. Perhaps the divine kingdom's main body could defeat it. However, it absolutely could not defeat the image. It is just a will clone. So what if you kill it? Nothing can change the fact that you do not have much lifespan left. Ha ha ha. As Emperor Forsaken reared his head back and laughed, the Phoenix Blood Thunder Divine Hammer smashed the will clone into pieces. In an instant, the divine kingdom crumbled. Cries of anguish rang out as strands of scarlet light turned into huge fireballs and fell to the ground like meteors. The Fox King and Ying Tianzong made a move to prevent the scarlet light from falling to the ground. Otherwise, the entire Tianwu city would have turned into rubble. Shao Chun stared at all this without blinking. His understanding of the myriad heaven divine fists dusk of deities deepened, and he vaguely comprehended something. However, the Dongwei Ghost Emperor and Xing Tian left quietly. Destroying the will clone was not as easy as Emperor Forsaken made it out to be. No matter what, the main body would still be affected. Shao Chun, today I officially confer you the title of Blue Dragon King. Are you willing to accept it? The Thunder King's voice rang out again after he withdrew the Phoenix Blood Thunder Divine Hammer. This time, he addressed Shao Chun directly. A beam of light immediately descended from the gloomy sky and landed on Shao Chun, drawing everyone's attention. The Thunder King personally made an appearance to confer the title of king. This was an earth-shattering event. Everyone held their breaths and focused as they looked at the dazzling youth in the beam of light. Many thanks to Senior Thunder King for bestowing the title. Shao Chun is filled with gratitude and is willing to accept the title of Blue Dragon King. Ha ha ha. Good. After 10,000 years, the title of Blue Dragon King has reappeared. This is a grand occasion. From today onwards, Shao Chun is the new Blue Dragon King, the Blue Dragon King of my Bushin Palace, and the Blue Dragon King of all the humans of my Tianwu domain. Right after Shao Chun spoke, the thunderclouds in the sky scattered, and sunlight shone down. 7-colored heavenly flowers began to fall like heavy snowflakes. These were the purest essence of energy in the world, reaching the level of 7 colors. The Thunder King used his own cultivation to sprinkle them down. They were very different from the illusions of the cannons. The seven-colored heavenly flowers drifting in the sky looked dense and colorful, lingering for a long time. This showed what level the Thunder King's cultivation had reached. Immediately, countless cultivators cheered and soared into the sky, starting to fight for the boundless seven-colored heavenly flowers in the sky. It was very lively. Hee. Elder brother, Xiao Chan, finally succeeded in being conferred king. Big brother Kong Yuan, Big brother Yuan Su, quickly helped Shurchen snatch the flowers. Xiao Bai laughed happily and pulled Kong Yuan and Yuan Su, wanting them to help her snatch the flowers. Kong Yuan and Yuan Su could not help but feel helpless. The Blue Dragon King reappeared in the world, and the Thunder King personally appointed him. Under the bright sun, heavenly flowers fell in a deluge of 7 colors. This path had been very difficult. There had been countless life-or-death situations, indescribable bitterness and tiredness. Finally, there was a happy ending. As Xiao Chan looked at the many familiar figures in the sky, he memorized their smiles and smiled in his heart. The path was still long. The end of the king conferral ceremony was just the start of another path to prime. However, the hot-bloodedness in his heart did not extinguish. He worked hard for it, even if he had to endure 1,000 kinds of loneliness. However, there would come a day when he reached the peak. His smile was like a flower, like today, when heavenly flowers fell and the bright sun shone. Even the most wondrous song had its end. The boundless heavenly flowers would not be truly endless. When the song ended and the flowers fell, the noisy and bustling king conferral ceremony started to come to an end. In a tall building outside the Tianwu Plaza, Xiao Hoju, who had changed his clothes and washed off the dust, looked at the various cultivators who performed cup-fist salutes and said their goodbyes to Xiao Chun amid the scattered heavenly flowers. All sorts of emotions welled up in Xiao Chen's heart. Who would remember that this king conferral ceremony was prepared for him by the 3 holy lords? Xiao Chen's father, Xiao Hozun, was still in the room. He sat alone at a table, drinking wine, his expression unreadable. "Father, didn't the holy lord say that the Thunder King would not come out? Why did he still come out?" Xiao Hoju said through clenched teeth and clenched his fists.